Well, hey, everybody, what's going on?
Yeah.
Are you going to complain about the light?
Fucking right, man. Look how dark that is back there. This is how Jenny set it up.
Yeah.
It's too dark.
I don't think so.
I can fix it.
I can fix it.
I can fix it. It's only like 1 or 2 clicks up.
Does your dad have a whole bunch of tools?
My dad's got a whole bunch of... Dude,
I can fix it.
I can fix it. I can fix it. Fucking Spicoli.
I mean, yeah. In case you guys didn't see Fast Times at Ridgemont High, that is what we were referring to. Thank you very much. So...
I can fix it. No, and they couldn't fix it. That fucking car was towed.
Well, that was the joke,
yeah,
Tom.
Yeah.
Obviously,
that
you couldn't
car
fix
was fucking towed. See, look how pretty that is now.
See, I like it darker back there.
No, now we got a little bit of red back there.
Okay.
All right.
I kind of like it a little bit darker because you can see the Scully thing.
Now you can see the fucking curtains and how classy that shit is. It's all satanic looking back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Today, we were pre-gaming at the Oasis.
A little bit.
The biker bar. Our friend Melissa and her boyfriend came down and
Danny, I think is
Dan, yeah, they were going to Biketoberfest
in Daytona Beach.
Yeah, so they
my
swung,
hometown.
Yeah, so they swung by our local biker bar to come hang out for a little bit. We haven't seen Melissa in years.
I don't remember the last time we've seen her. I think the last time we saw her was at iBar.
Yeah,
probably like a couple years ago.
4 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it's that long ago.
It might have been.
Right.
It might have been. But yeah, I haven't seen her in a really long time. So Tom was just gonna go down, and I was like, "Well, hey, I had a job.
To get out of the house. Yeah.
I had a job interview today, but then it was over by then, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'll come down there and meet you. I'm not gonna ride on the back of the bike, but I was like, I'll drive down there.
Yeah.
And meet you guys.
Yeah.
So.
I let her boyfriend ride my Buell. He liked it. He let me ride his fucking Harley.
Mm-hmm.
Souped up fucking Harley. It was pretty nice. I couldn't get my foot underneath the damn shifter though. The way he had it adjusted. He had it adjusted for little girl shoes. I had my fucking boots on. I had to fucking reach down sideways and just pull up.
Now you know why I like to drive in bare feet, Tom.
Yeah. It was a souped up bike. It was a souped up bike. Yeah, it was a Dyna of some kind. Naked Dyna, I think. 2020, I think. I think he said. Did he say 2020? I think he said.
I couldn't hear a goddamn
thing. He said 2020.
Y'all were talking. I probably heard maybe 20% of what you're saying. Maybe not even that much.
Like, 120 horsepower and like a fucking 100 foot-pounds of torque, 100-something foot-pounds of torque. But it's a 600-pound bike. But still, it was kind of fun to ride. It was like riding a damn easy boy recliner down the fucking street. My feet were forward. Just odd for me.
I like the idea of that. Just getting in the lazy boy.
Yeah, it's like riding a lazy boy recliner. It was actually turned pretty well. It was turned pretty sharp. I'm thinking about getting one. Be good to have at my age. It just looks more right, I think.
Are you getting the old guy?
It had like 8 hangers. I'm looking around like that. People look at them and say, yeah. I was just wearing this, too. I had a helmet on, though.
Yeah, I mean, you had all your armor from before, but you left it in the bar.
I didn't. Yeah.
I
just threw the helmet on.
I had to watch over it while they were out doing shenanigans.
Yeah.
I had to sit there in the bar and watch everybody's drinks.
Yeah, it was only 10 minutes, though, Jim. Jim was like, you guys are in those bikes, but it was only 10 minutes.
It's like I'm sitting here with all these normies
listening
to horrible country music.
Yeah, it probably seemed like a long time to you. But
it does seem like a long time.
It was only like 10 minutes. Yeah.
It seems interminable, actually. Danny Rolling said, Tom, have you ever ridden a Ducati?
Yes, an old one. Well, actually, a couple of them. Ducati Monster 900. I rode one of those. No, excuse me. I think it was the 1100. It was Ducati Monster 1100. Somebody offered me a 900. I never bought it. And the other one was an old fucking Ducati Desmo. I think it was a Desmo Sedici, I think is what it was called. It was this, like a very late 80s, early 90s bike. That was a trip. Yeah. That was a long time ago, though. I couldn't even really tell you much about it other than it was fucking really odd and fucking shifted really shitty. But it might have been just that bike. But the Monster rode a lot better. But the Ducatis are everywhere here in Florida. That's kind of like top of the line. It's kind of like a more top of the line in terms of just reputation. Top of the line sport bike guy motorcycle. Now there's a guy that hangs out at the Oasis who has 3 Diavels, 3 Ducati Diavels, and I think he's got another one. He's a rich guy, a rich old fat guy who He could ride pretty well, but you just look at him, you would never think. One of those fucking Ducati Diavos he had was the Lamborghini edition, which is I think an $80,000 or $90,000 motorcycle. He's
Holy
got one.
fuck.
Oh yeah, he's rich. He's rich. Yeah, it was the Lambo edition Diavolo. Had gold trim on it and shit. It's pretty nice. Fast and powerful. And you couldn't buy that. It had to be offered to you, and they offered it to him. You had to be like a prior top level customer, and that's all he buys is Ducatis.
Oh, so he's like special.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
And he's just a dude in his fucking late 50s, early 60s who has a shit ton of money and kind of a little butterball of estrogen, you know. I was like, dude, man, you all these high performance motorcycles, why aren't you on test, man? Fucking.
He's like, why do I care? I got money.
Yeah, he's like, nah, I'm good, and I said, your wife would be awful happy. He goes, no, I'm single. Yeah. And I'm going, oh, okay. He plays the escorts. He don't give a shit.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So why should he care?
Yeah, if he wants to get laid, he just buys it.
Right.
Yeah.
Much easier.
Yeah.
So they're probably not worried about it.
Yeah. I don't understand that. I mean, even one of the richest men in the world, fucking Jeff Bezos, is fucking on all kinds of... He looks great now. He used to
I think it more depends on the person. I don't even know. But like I said, I can see how you having like a shit ton of money would just be like, I'm just going to...
Yeah, they take the easy way out, you know?
Well, yeah.
But that was one of the reasons...
Why wouldn't they?
I don't like Jeff Bezos too much, his business practices. I think he's a fucking tyrannical oligarch that probably just wants to run everything like a medieval lord. But at least he's a fucking man. He had all that fucking money. He came from a dweebish background. I mean, I see pictures of that dude at fucking 35 or 40. He's just a fucking dweeb, you know? And now he's fucking got that shit ton of money. And he's got dripping with fucking hot women. And he's not putting these women through the fucking chore of having to fuck this nasty old... He looks good, man. He looks good. That woman he's with, I think, is a fitness trainer. She's like an 8, you know. She's probably like 40-something. She's not a spring chick. She's just an older chick within his age range who's fucking stacked. And, you know.
Well, I do have to respect a dude that's older and rich and actually goes after a woman in his age range. That's refreshing.
Yeah, and she's fine.
Isn't it?
Yeah, she's fine.
I mean, yeah, she's hot, but at least she's not like fucking 19.
Well, they got a lot of dudes that are like that, though, and she's hot in his age range, and he looks like shit. No, he looks great. He looks great. He's fucking
so, you know,
he's on gear. He's working out. I think she is his personal trainer, I think. And
maybe that's how they met.
Yeah.
I don't really know that much.
Yeah, I don't know, but I've seen pictures of him in his yacht and that hottie and shit, and fucking he's looking good for his age. He looks good even for anybody's age. And he'd be sitting up on the front of that fucking yacht in a whole fucking center of a harem of all these fucking hotties and shit, and he's at least fitting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not some dweeb or some fucking butterball. He looks like a man sitting there, so I respect.
Where everybody's just kind of like, well, he bought all those chicks, obviously.
Yeah, no, but the thing is you look at him and he could have earned them.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
It's like, you know.
Yeah, he's trying to be the full package. He's not putting those women through hell. Because a rich dude could.
Well, yeah, because they have a shit ton of money.
A shit ton of money. Yeah, I'm fat.
They're like, well,
nasty.
I don't really want to fuck this dude, but
yeah, right. I'm gonna have to.
He's a billionaire.
The money, yeah, so, you know, and he's like,
and he's gonna give me $20,000.
Yeah, and he's like fucking the average one that's like that is like Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. Come here, you know, fat motherfucker, flying fat man.
Like
suck me
with boils all over.
Yeah, with boils and shit. Suck me, you know.
He's like, I got money.
Yeah.
I don't need to do shit.
Yeah, that's wrong thinking. Very wrong thinking. If you have money, you should have more responsibility. You know what I mean?
I agree.
There's more responsibility. Your standards should be even higher.
I agree.
Because now you have to compensate for having all that money.
Well, and you have the time and the resources.
And you should have the willpower.
That a lot of people, like the regular people, don't have. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't have time to spend days in the gym. A lot of people don't have time to hire personal trainers or nutritionists or anything like that. Most people don't have time to do that shit.
A rich dude does.
Yeah, you do. So honestly, there's kind of no excuse.
Yeah. And if you want to spend all this money and basically, look, man, the archetype, the perfect rich dude is basically Bruce Wayne, the way he's presented in the fucking Dark Knight series. You know what I mean? He's in training. You know, he looks good. He's got all that money.
Yeah,
he's not dependent
have to do
on
all that stuff.
Yeah,
he can just lay around and do nothing.
Yeah, he can lay around and do nothing and get all these women. No, he's fucking doing shit, and his standards for himself are high, and he's not imposing on these women. He's rich, But they'd want to be with him even if he wasn't rich.
Right. And I think that's a good
That's
aspiration.
a much better way to do it, right?
I think that's a good aspiration.
Yeah.
Because, like, even if you don't have a fuck ton of money, at least be somebody that people want to be around.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Mm-hmm. You know,
have some fucking self-respect.
Just make an effort.
A lot of rich dudes don't have any self-respect.
Well, the thing is that a lot of dudes expect women to look like this, that, and the other thing, which takes a lot of money and effort.
Yeah.
But it's like they're not willing to
they're not gonna do
that themselves. Yeah. Which is
I'm rich and powerful. I don't have to be good looking.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna impose on
I don't have to go get my hair done and my nails done and get shaved and plucked and all this other kind of stuff. Oh, but women have to do that.
Yeah, right.
Like you have to go get all this shit done.
It's
plastic surgery.
It's misogyny.
It is. They expect women to look a certain way, which, like I said, that's not free. Like most women don't look like that naturally. Sorry,
but they
it's
won't
like,
put the same. But they won't put the same standards on themselves.
Right, but they won't put the same.
Right, and then this dude is.
That's why we get mad.
This dude is a billionaire. He's got everything life could give, and he doesn't want health. He doesn't want fucking charisma.
That's what I mean.
He doesn't
it's
want
like
all
he has
that.
the money and the time.
Yeah,
to have all that shit. At least go to the spa.
Yeah, become the full
package.
Get some
liposuction.
And
get a facial.
You see, this is the thing.
Get a good haircut.
If I had that kind of money, I'd be working to compensate. Because to me, I would see that kind of money and power as a weakness. I'd fucking get real insecure. I'd be like, man, these women don't like me. They just like this money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I'd be like, well, I'm gonna have to do something about that. You know, I have to be.
You have to make sure.
You have to make sure that you're.
They would like you.
That they would like you either way.
Either way.
So you got to go on a training and fucking,
But
improve
more
yourself.
people should think like that. I think.
Well, you see, me growing up in Brazil, going to Escola Graduada de São Paulo, around all those rich Brazilian kids and shit like that. They were fucking rich. They don't think that way.
No, I know. A lot of people don't. A lot of rich people.
No, they're fucking losers. Their dads were like fucking super rich and powerful and shit, but they had, like I said, whole harems of hookers and fucking girlfriends and then a wife.
Well, like
they
I said,
just saw women as disposable shit.
Right, like why should they make an effort?
Yeah, they're like, I'm gonna get fat. I'll fuck her. I'll just pay her.
It's like it's like I don't really give a shit. It's like my wife leaves me. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll just pay for one. Right. They have to fuck me because I paid her.
Exactly.
They can't complain.
Exactly. So you end up in a very hollow life, meaningless life because you don't have any real friends.
Right. Because every woman that comes there is like, oh, Jesus Christ.
And you don't have any real girlfriends. Your girlfriend's a fucking employee.
Right.
She's on the fucking payroll. All right.
Yeah, she wouldn't be with you otherwise. No way. But yeah. Like I said, they'll hang out with you if you got a lot of money.
Yeah.
If they're,
Yeah, so.
Because you're paying them, so.
Go look at Jeff Bezos. You Google Jeff Bezos fucking HRT or fucking testosterone or something, and those pictures will come up of him up on that yacht. All right. And he's in his 50s, and he looks fucking great for 50s. He probably looks better now than he did when those photos are taken. And his girlfriend is with him, and she's fucking hot. And they don't look out of place with each other.
Yeah.
He looks like a fucking playboy billionaire. Like, he took a fucking... He felt the same way I did, I guarantee you.
Probably.
He's like, they just like me for the money. Fuck that. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to fucking get fucking shredded. You know what I mean?
But
so
see, like I
look like I deserve this
I
shit.
respect that. I respect that. Because at least you're making an effort, like I said. Because you expect other people to make an effort.
Yeah,
so you should also.
He went Bruce Wayne on the motherfucker. Which that's what I would do. I'd have a whole fucking arsenal of toys and shit. I'd be fucking working out.
That's what I mean. Like,
I'd be on gear.
If I was a billionaire, holy crap, it's like I would have all kind of stuff done.
Yeah. If you fucking watch the animated Batman series, the newer ones, man, fucking Batman was on gear. He was on fucking special steroids. He blended himself. He was such a genius. Because how could a dude fucking 55 be that fucking jacked? Sure. If you look at the cartoons. His upper body's fucking 5 times the size of mine. Talk about some V-taper. That dude must have weighed fucking 250, 300 fucking pounds of pure muscle. It's not natural for a dude that's fucking 50 and shit. I don't remember what the name of that cartoon that I saw was. It was old Batman. He had a damn bat tank and everything. It was a good... I'm telling you about the superhero shit. It makes a lot more sense when it's animated.
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. That Christopher Nolan, I think Christopher Nolan, right, did the fucking Dark Knight series?
Yeah.
That's about the best... That's the best superhero series, actually. For live action. You can't get any better than that.
Tom was watching...
Yeah.
This was... the villagers react.
Yeah, those guys from fucking India, Pakistan.
With Babu. Right?
Yeah, Babu, his grandpa.
Like that super old dude.
Super old fucking Indian.
And
Muslim
they
guy.
watched the Christopher Nolan Batman series.
All three of them. Yeah.
And they thought those were the best movies ever made in the history of
yeah.
And I think they even compared Christopher Nolan to God, did they not?
They said Christopher Nolan was an incarnation of God.
Yeah. That's how much they love this.
That's how much they love it. Yeah. They love the.
It was so funny.
They love that shit, and they liked the stories. They knew the whole thing. Although here's the funny thing in that last one, they're just saying that girl, that thief girl. They didn't know that was Catwoman.
That Catwoman. Right.
They didn't know that. They just said that thief girl.
Right.
They didn't know that was a supervillain.
Okay.
Another one that was funny that they didn't because they didn't have the cultural reference. There was another one that they didn't know who that was. Oh, they didn't know that cop that was helping Batman was Robin.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They didn't know who that was.
Well, like I said, they're not as immersed in the lore as we are over here.
Yeah.
So that's like not.
Yeah.
You know, that's not that weird.
They watched the Joker too. They loved that. And there's a scene in Joker where Joker kills some people coming out of a theater and lets the boy live. They didn't realize that was Batman.
That was Batman.
They didn't realize that.
Because, like I said, they're not like like obviously in the West, everybody be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like everybody would immediately know what that was.
Yeah.
But you know they don't have the cultural context, so that's not that's not a big a deal.
And they liked Joker in both movies, like Dark Knight 2, and they liked the Joker solo series.
Right.
But they didn't really seem to understand that they didn't quite fit together.
Right.
They didn't realize there's reboots and alternate universes of it. You know what I mean?
You know, that's kind of a compliment.
They were trying to figure out where in history that was supposed to be.
Right.
Within the relative of Dark
Well, yeah,
Knight,
because in the context, it doesn't really make sense. Because obviously, in the Joker movie, you know, Joker is like middle aged when Bruce Wayne is a child. Yeah. And like in the other ones, they're kind of the same age.
Kind of the same age, right? Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, you know, everyone's just, we're not worrying about it. We're just kind of like making them the same universe. But yeah.
But the Christopher Nolan movies, I think, are the best live action superhero movies in modern times. Retro live action, I'm going to have to give it to fucking Superman 1 and 2 and 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking with Christopher Reeves.
Even the one with the Nuclear Man.
I fucking love Nuclear Man. The canon film one. Yeah, that's when Superman goes straight fuck it. Straight fuck it. Okay, and here's the thing, man. Fucking Chris Reeves had a lot to do with Nuclear Man.
Well, yeah. Didn't he get a production credit?
Yeah, he was partially produced it, and he wrote a lot of it, and he does a lot of good.
Idea.
He does a lot of good work in that. Actually, the good acting. The special effects weren't up to snuff.
No.
The opening credits is really what brought it down. The opening credits were fucking terrible. They should have. The opening scene should have somehow gotten around high quality credits. I would have just written it a different way so you didn't notice.
Right.
Because they tried to replicate those opening credits and it just no.
Yeah, like if you can't make it as good as it was initially, then just do something else.
Do something totally.
Because if you try to like replicate it, everyone's gonna notice.
Yeah.
That it's not as good.
But it had a lot of, you know, fucking Lex Luthor was back. It was the same cast. A lot of the shit was back, and it was good. I thought it was better than 3, unfortunately. Because Richard Pryor was in it.
Yeah. I'd have to watch
and he was the best
again.
part.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor was actually the best part of fucking Superman 3.
He was, yeah, I agree.
And I feel bad for Pryor, because Pryor loved fucking Superman. Growing up as a kid in a brothel, he fucking looked up to Superman. He thought Superman was just a dude who would come save him. And he loved Christopher Reeves' Superman 1 and 2. And when he got 3, he was just fucking dumbfounded. And he had him change the script because his character is supposed to like try to kill Superman. He's like, no. I'm not gonna be in this movie if I'm gonna kill Superman. No way.
He's like, no, that's not gonna work for me.
Way, yeah. And he did a good job. He was like the best thing about that number 3.
He was very endearing in that movie, I found. I mean, he was very endearing in general, but I found him very endearing.
He really wanted that project to fucking work, but the direction was just improper for that movie. And the direction was wrong. It shouldn't have gone down that way.
I feel like they couldn't really settle on a tone.
It was too comedic and
which was what was kind of brought it down. I like that movie overall. But yeah, it's a little schizo.
Yeah.
A little schizo.
Shouldn't have quite have been that story.
Yeah.
There was other stuff they could have done to make that a good story, and still had Richard Pryor in it, but that director wasn't right for that project. Superman 4 was good because it was just straight up a low budget movie that was done pretty well. It had a lot of fun in it. It was crazy. The whole nuclear man aspect, I think, was misguided.
That was a little misguided. That's a good way to put it.
And what was
it's a little
funny
on
about
the
that
nose. It's a little on the nose.
What was funny about that one is that Christopher Reeve was responsible for that shit. Do you know that?
Yeah, I know.
The nuclear man. So if you want to blame anybody, fucking blame Reeves.
I mean, the problem is it was just so earnest.
Yeah.
And like I said, I get it. His heart was in the right place. But you could have at least, like, put a couple more layers of metaphor on it so it wasn't quite so on the nose.
It was very much a kid's movie.
Because it's very cringy.
It was very much a kid's movie. Even though it had good Superman action in it, Superman acting was good in it. Lex Luthor fucking, what's his name? The guy who played Lex Luthor, he fucking nails it.
Gene Hackman.
Yeah, Gene Hackman fucking, he doesn't phone it in. He's fucking chewing up the whole fucking scenery, all right?
All of it.
Yeah. It was, the thing is that Chris Reeves almost had it there. Almost. Instead of the nuclear man thing, the way they made him out of some of Superman's hair, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, like the DNA.
Right. What they should have done is made a fucking clone of Superman. And Chris Reeves played them both.
Yeah.
That's what it should have been. And then the clone would have been slightly imperfect, and it was more loyal to fucking Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I think that would have been much cooler.
That would have made a lot more sense. And then somehow Superman destroys the clone, but with the help of the clone. That's how I would do it. Yeah. Because a clone of the Superman, deep down, would still be good.
Yeah, because he's a clone of Superman.
Right. And what would happen was the clone of Superman, there'd be like, I would put in, so this is me coming up with fucking scripts, all right?
I told
Hollywood
you should
fucking hire me, all right?
Look, I mean, take a class or something. You'd probably be really good at it.
I
can write the shit for you.
I'm a little old for that shit now. But
no, you're not.
What I would have done is had a fucking scene where the clone of Superman self-actualizes and is like, wait a minute, hold on. This isn't right.
This is fucked up.
I'm a clone of Superman, but I'm still Superman. And what I should do in this situation is not only betray Lex Luthor, but destroy myself.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
And he throws himself into the sun or some shit like that. After he saves...
I like that.
So the bad guy Superman actually saves the planet.
I like that idea.
That's how I would do it. And really, the good guy Superman basically kind of influences him and talks him into doing that.
Right.
All right. Because there's a bunch of problems in Superman 3. Superman decides on his own, because he's got fucking nuts of steel, that he's going to make nuclear weapons fucking illegal and get rid of them all. That's the wrong answer. Even his training, when he's flying in the fucking spaceship from fucking Krypton and shit, says you cannot interfere with human history. They gave him all kinds of rules. It would have been like a prime directive. All right?
Well, he whiffed that, didn't he?
He whiffed that. Not only did he fuck up time, all right, he also fucked up human history and shit by trying to get rid of the nuclear weapons. Because what would have really happened in those days of the Cold War, if you knew the United States and the Soviet Union, had you got rid of those nuclear weapons, they would immediately started fighting World War III with each other.
Yeah, well.
It'd have been bigger than World War II, so millions of people would have died. The nuclear weapons is what kept the peace. That's what kept them from fucking attacking each other, because both sides were responsible. The Soviet guys were professional, we were professional. It became a game. They weren't going to launch on each other, but either side really didn't want to die. You got rid of those nuclear weapons, they'd fucking go toe-to-toe. There wouldn't be any proxy wars. And a real Superman would have known that. He would have come up with another solution. Fucking some kind of peace treaty. You know what I mean? That would have fucking made sure that it didn't happen. It would have been something like that. It would have been Lex Luthor would have used the fucking Superman, the clone Superman, to do something to cause the fucking nuclear war to happen. That's how it should have been. And Superman stops it with the help of the clone Superman. That's how that movie should have been.
That would have been a good idea.
That'd have been a lot better.
Like I said, if you're just making a villain and they're like, okay, well, who's the villain? Oh, well, he represents all the nuclear powers of the world. It's like, let's call him Nuclear Man. That sounds like a 9-year-old's first draft.
Right.
Is all I'm saying. No hate. I'm just saying that's what it sounds like.
I would have had it so the clone of Superman was damn near indistinguishable from the real Superman, and most people thought that the clone was the real one. Nobody knew which one. So
look at all of the conflict that would have introduced.
Right. There would have been a bunch of fucking...
That'd have been great.
Confusion. And only the audience would have known who the real...
they could have had like a little bit of a tell, so the audience could tell the difference.
So the audience could tell the difference, but the people couldn't. Like, he was slightly dingy looking or something. Something like that. Or he was slightly like, maybe his hair was wrong or something.
Or shit, man, even they could have it where, like, in universe, like, no one would be able to tell, but, like, the audience would be able to tell because it was a slightly different theme music.
Right. That's how
so it's like, so you always knew, like, which one was the bad one. You know what I mean?
Right.
So then that would introduce, like, a lot more suspense because then you'd be like, oh, shit, everybody thinks this is, like, the real one, but it's not.
Right. And you see, I would have had it so the clone Superman really wasn't all that bad. It's just that he was under the influence of fucking Lex Luthor. And Lex was lying to his ass about something. Yeah. And tricking him into causing this nuclear war to happen.
Yeah, because he wasn't, like, deep down, he wasn't a bad guy. No. Because he was a clone of Superman.
Right. He
would still be a good guy.
He'd been a good guy. So, but Lex Luthor would have been tricking him into doing something to cause this nuclear war to happen.
More conflict, which would have been good.
Yeah. And then fucking, Lex has told the clone Superman that the other Superman is a clone.
Right.
So there's a lot of confusion.
Right.
And it's got to be sorted out inside the Fortress of Solitude. Mm-hmm. That's where it's all sorted out.
You need to write that movie.
I got to write that shit right fucking now. You go to this Fortress of Solitude and fucking Jor-El shows up. His fucking AI fucking thing and fucking
like
sorts it out.
Or whatever. And he's like, we have a crystal for that.
Right.
And then he comes out.
And then fucking Jor-El comes out and goes, you are in many ways both my sons. All that kind of weird shit like that.
Yeah,
and
he'd
then
say some shit like
and Jor-El gets the clone Superman to destroy himself for the benefit of the universe.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you need to, like, jump off a bridge or something.
Right. Or he leaves and becomes an extra Superman just in case our Superman gets destroyed. He goes back to another planet. Superman. He flies to another planet. Some shit like that. Got an extra Superman. Bonus Superman. Yeah.
Just in case. Well, it's always good to have one on backup. It's backup Superman.
Right. Although I think it makes more sense if the clone Superman destroys himself.
Well, it would be a lot more dramatic.
Be more dramatic, and it's more heroic.
From a fictional standpoint. Yeah.
He destroys himself.
If he just takes off, everybody will be like, okay.
He tries to save the Earth somehow, and in the course of it, he fucking destroys himself.
Yeah. Because that's always like, everybody loves that when that happens. Self-sacrifice at the end of a movie.
And that way, you get to see that Superman was really down with that shit, that he would die.
Yeah.
To protect the Earth.
Because, like, the actual Superman didn't have to die, but just the clone Superman was like, I'll do that.
Yeah, that's how I would do it. That way, both of them...
I'm going to walk into the volcanoes.
Yeah. One was a villain for a while, and then they both became kind of heroes, and you get to see your hero die.
Right.
But yours lives.
Not the real one. Right?
Not the real one.
Just the bonus one.
Right.
The spare Superman.
The spare Superman.
Superman 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
What's up, Dave? Dave is here.
What's up, Dave?
He says, totally reboot the Nuclear Man movie.
Yeah,
He's
I can
like,
do it.
Oh, and hey, you two.
Yeah.
Hey, you going to Mannequins tonight? I imagine you probably are. We're not, because we're broke ass.
Yeah, we're kind of broke.
So we're not going. But
and we got to save money for Halloween.
I know. Halloween is only in 11 days. So that's coming up. Plus, we spent money at the bar.
Yeah.
At the Oasis. Which I wasn't even planning to go, really. He just came out and said, hey, Melissa and her boyfriend are going to Daytona and they're stopping at the Oasis. And I was like, he's like, I'm going to ride down. I was like, well, I'll drive down in my car. And because I hadn't seen her in a long time either. So, you know.
Oh, thank you.
So I went down there too. Aw, thank you very much, Bryce. Love the show. I usually don't get to listen to Sidetracks because of work and study. By the way, have you guys tried, what is that, Provigil? Am I pronouncing that right? Because of it, I got an essay done in one night. Ooh, I like that. Oh, don't tempt me.
No, I never tried that. But I don't know what that is.
The picture says, Superman 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold.
Superman 2 what?
The Legend of Curly's Gold. That was the oh shit, man. What, that movie with fucking Billy Crystal in it, and god damn it, it just totally went out of my head what movie that was. But that was what the sequel was called, The Legend of Curly's Gold. He'll tell me in a second.
Victor, my other gay, he's in there saying that his favorite Superman was fucking Brightburn. That was a good one.
I liked Brightburn a lot more than I thought I would.
I wanted to get Brightburn on fucking Blu-ray, but I forgot
City
about
Slickers. That's what it. Thank you very much. I could not remember the name of that movie to save my fucking life.
I wanted to get that one on Blu-ray, but I forgot to get it. And the end of Brightburn kind of teased another movie, but
they wanted to make like a whole universe,
but they pushed out on it.
Maybe that one didn't do well enough. I liked that movie though. I kind of feel like, I don't know, it kind of came and went. Like we reviewed it when it was in the theater, and I remembered liking that like much more than I thought that I was going to.
Yeah.
Camp Guy said, who played Lex Luthor's female assistant? She was pretty hot.
Yeah, Mrs. What was her? Mrs. Tessbacher, right?
Tessbacher. Yeah, that was what he used to call her, right?
I think it was Tessbacher.
Yeah, what the fuck was her? I can see her face. What is her fucking name? I know that actress's name, but I can't.
She was just
a Camp Guy said Valerie Perrine, baby.
She was a super cougar from the 80s.
Super cougar from the 80s.
Super cougar from the 80s. But she's about 40, I think, wasn't she?
I think it was the same kind of vibe as like Annie Potts from Ghostbusters.
Yeah. I was watching a modern.
Although Annie Potts from Pretty in Pink, who was like a punk rocker, I was all about that.
I was watching a modern reaction video. Some goth chick, she's in her 20s, watched that movie. She liked it. She goes, the only thing I couldn't stand about that is when that woman kissed Superman when he was in the water, fucking without his permission. That was horrible. That should have never been in a movie. And I was just fucking laughing as these fucking Gen Z. They don't understand. Fucking men don't have to worry about that kind of shit. She just did that because she couldn't get a good guy and she wanted to have the experience of kissing Superman, that cute motherfucker. That's all that was.
Well, like I said,
and she freed him. It was not like raping him or something.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Well, the thing is, it's like I get it, but you have to understand too that it's like it's not the same as it would be the other way around.
No, it is not the same if a dude did that to a woman. But
that is absolutely not the same.
Yeah, that's kind of taking advantage of the woman. But the thing is that a woman is a beautiful woman is not taking advantage of a man if she kisses him. He takes that shit as a fucking as a compliment
most of the time.
Because he was like
I said, I'm not a big advocate of like, well, not if he's like unconscious or something like that, because that's fucked up whoever you do it to. But it's just kind of like if he's just kind of standing there. Like I said, it's not the same the other way around. Yeah. It's just not.
Well, I already told Jim my fucking story. I fucking up in Boston partying in one of them fucking damn college fucking frat houses, and they had all the fucking people in there, and I passed out on a damn fucking recliner, fucking as drunk as I was. When I woke up, some chick was making out with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Who are you? And she's fucking trying to pull me. She's like, come on. I says, yeah, hold on. I was going to go with her, and I just fucking stumbled, fucking passed out. If I couldn't go anywhere, I was so fucked up.
Yeah.
And then I woke up, and everybody was gone. It was morning time. And I was like, I got to get out of here. Fucking went back to the T and went home. I didn't know where I was.
Yeah. Like I said,
that's not the same as doing that to a girl.
It's not the same as the other way around.
Yeah.
Like, I've fallen asleep drunk at a few parties a few times.
Yeah.
And if I had woken up and some dude was, like, on top of me, making out with me, I would absolutely not have reacted the way you reacted. I would have flipped the fuck out.
Women have to like, protect their fucking sanctity and their dignity. That's fucking... Men have to know that. You got a woman who's drunk and she's fucking passed out. You should protect her, not take advantage of her.
Well, honestly, even if you're a woman and a dude is passed out, you shouldn't take advantage of them either. I mean, it's like they probably wouldn't be upset, but I'm not going to take that chance.
Man.
I wouldn't want to, like, why do you want to make out with a dude that's asleep anyway?
Well, she was trying to get me awake.
I guess, but it's just like, I don't know, that wouldn't occur to me, I guess.
Well, like she was fucked up too.
Well, yeah, maybe. So, you know, but it's I see some dude that I had a crush on. If he was like sleeping, I would not. It would not occur to me in a million years. Oh, I'm gonna go like jump on that dick while he's sleeping. I would never do that.
Well, you never went to college.
Yeah, I did.
Those fucking girls.
What are you talking about?
Which college you go to?
Daytona State.
Oh, okay. I thought. Yeah. Okay. I didn't even. All right.
See, you don't know shit about me.
I know you got a degree, but I didn't. I thought that was.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, well, I didn't like living in a dorm or anything like that, but it's just kind of like.
Right. I used to dorm people.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, even in that sense, like, I used to go to parties and shit like that, but it's just kind of like, I don't know, that would just never, I just wouldn't do that to somebody. Yeah. It just wouldn't occur to me.
Girls do that shit all the time.
I know they do, but
because they can get away with it because
I'm not that type of person, though. They get away with
it because they can estimate what dude's available and shit, you know what I mean? Dudes are not real choosy as long as you're a cute girl and he's not, and he's single, he's gonna say yeah, you know, he's not gonna fucking, he's gonna go, okay, yeah. Even if she's slightly below your standards, you'd probably say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this chick a favor. You know, she's kind of ugly, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because you don't have a girlfriend. You know what I mean? You're just, okay, we'll do this.
Well, a lot of dudes will do it even if they do have a girlfriend.
Yeah, a lot of them will.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not the same. Guys are easy to satisfy. Women are choosy. They like to date up, you know, certain guys.
Well, like I said, we have to be. We have a lot more to lose than y'all do.
Yeah. So. Right. The guy didn't have anything to lose. He's just... Especially if he's single.
Really.
He's just like, all right, okay, this is fun.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're not going to get raped or murdered
or anything. Girl can't hurt you.
Or pregnant or anything like that.
Yeah, girl can't hurt you.
I mean, you might get an STD, which is sucky, but...
Just a fucking year ago, me and Jen went down to fucking Mannequins, and I was dressed as Bane.
Yeah, this was last Halloween.
I had...
The
comic book Bane.
The comic book Bane, so like the El Santo looking.
Yeah, he looked like a fucking Mexican luchador.
And I was Medusa.
Yeah.
I had a kick-ass costume last year.
And I had his fucking combat boots and black fucking pants and fucking wrestling shirt outfit. Went through there and fucking, I was getting groped. I walked by a bunch of girls and fucking just a hand came out and just grabbed my fucking titty and shit. And I turned around and was like, what the fuck is that? And they started giggling and fucking... Dudes could never do that to a woman.
You better not.
No.
You do that to me and I'll fucking punch you in the mouth.
Dudes couldn't do that to a woman and get away with it.
Or
what am I going to do?
Or I'll kick you in the taint.
Jim was right next to me when
I was right there. We were walking out to the back fucking... Yeah. He wasn't even by himself.
No, Jim was right there.
We were walking out to the back patio.
Trying to call me over there with...
She was probably super wasted.
Yeah.
Everybody was... It was Halloween. It was super crowded. Everybody was super wasted.
Yeah. And then later on, I'm over there getting a drink and she's probably about 21, you know, fucking smoking hot with mini skirt. And she was with this dumpy old dude who maybe paid for her company. I don't fucking know. She was up on that fucking bar and shit, you know, giving everybody a fucking upskirt. And she jumped down like that, fucking turned around and saw me and just went and started heading towards me. And he saw her heading towards me. He pulled her back. Yeah.
That I did not see. I must have been in the back.
No, you were in the back.
Oh, okay.
You were out on the patio.
I was on the patio.
I went out there to go get us both a drink. She fucking went right... I was like 5 feet. She went right towards me. He fucking grabbed her. I think he was a client, though.
Could have been.
Well, she was fucking in heels, maybe 6 feet. He was maybe 5'2", and fucking like a round ball. I mean, he had to have been paying.
Yeah, you would think.
He was some kind of foreigner. He had a lot of money. But he was maybe 25. We're not talking about an old guy. Yeah. Young guy.
I wonder.
Maybe like a young Middle Easterner or something. Somebody who had a lot of money.
Yeah. Both of us get groped when we go there.
She gets groped. That's how I got fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get groped.
Just grab her ass, and I'm next thing you know, I'm in a fucking fight to
That's what I really like going there.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's the same reason. Like, see, that's kind of the difference between dudes and women. It's like Tom is like, oh, I like to go to that place. It's like I kind of like it, but in a way I don't. And honestly, like last time we were at Memento, which is at Barbarella, and we were talking to people about mannequins there, and a lot of people, like the goth people, will not go. Yeah. They're like, I don't feel safe there. Yeah. And it's like, and I understand that. Because it's like they let too many douchebags in. They are trying to make it better. They like started a cover charge, and they're... Yeah. You know, the DJ is pretty, you know, he'll call people out if people are being, like, assholes, like, on the dance floor, like, hey, get off the fucking dance floor or get out of here or whatever. Yeah. But, so they are trying to, like, make it better, but it's still, I still don't feel, like, super safe there, and it's, like, whenever Tom goes to the bathroom or I have to go somewhere, like, by myself in the place, like, I'm always, like, on edge. Yeah. And I don't really like that. Like, at Barbarella, you can go there, like, you could go there with just tape over your nipples and your cooch, and no one would bat an eye. Yeah. You could dance all night, no one would touch you, no one would look at you funny, no one would do anything. No. Everybody would just like, hey, what's up? And, okay, I'm going to go back to dancing, you just do your thing. And it's like, and it's so freeing. Yeah. You know what I mean? You go to Mannequins, you have to, like, watch your back every fucking second. Yeah. Because it's like, is this dude going to grope me? Is this dude going to, like... Yeah, you know, do something in the parking lot. Is he gonna like wait for me or something like that? Like,
what's funny is that they know. What's funny is that they know I'm there. Yeah, and I don't know if they understand the body count of how many dudes I fucked up there, but
well, and another thing,
even security's kind of fucking scared to tell me anything. You know what I mean? But fucking, well, I'm a friend of the owners too. But you can't do
Yeah, I mean, we've known the owner for a long time.
And
so if we go to him and say, hey, these people are being
we get
douchey,
anybody kicked out.
then they'll get rid of them. Although, we had this happen, was it last week or the week before?
Yeah.
I guess it was the week before, because I think we went to Memento last week. But the week before, there were these, like, really douchey dudes, like, on the fucking dance floor, and they were just being so irritating.
They got kicked out once.
And, then the DJ kept saying, it's like, hey, stop being douchebags out there. It's like, you're gonna get kicked out, or whatever. Yeah. And then they were like, what, us? Oh, we're not being douchebags. And everyone's like, they're talking about you, so, you know, like, straighten up. Yeah. And so, they wouldn't. And then finally they got kicked out. Why are we being kicked out? Oh, I can't imagine. Yeah. So they got kicked out, but then like an hour later, they were back in there.
Yeah, they came back in.
I was like, well, look, all normies look the same to me, not to be racist, but all normies like kind of look the same to me. Yeah. So they came back in, and later on, we're over there, me and Tom, and I think we were talking to Dave actually, and we were like in the corner, and I was like, is that those same motherfuckers again? I was like, normies look the same to me, but I'm pretty sure that's the same dudes. Well, they all have the same stupid shorts. They all have the same stupid shoes.
They're dude bros.
They all have the same stupid backwards baseball caps. I'm like, they all look the same to me. So it's like, I don't know. They all look like just generic white dudes. So I'm just kind of like, is that them? I was like, that looks like them. And Tom's like, look, he's like, that's not them. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's them. And we're looking at him. He's like, oh, wait, I think that is them. And I was like, what the fuck are they doing back? Did they pay again?
Yeah.
Did they pay again just because they were bad that they got kicked out?
What's funny is that their girls are just as bad.
They are. I will admit that.
They're just guilty.
They all look the same to me, too. I can't tell one from the other, to be honest. They all look like Karens.
Yeah, they're just guilty of different shit. What they do is they get in the middle of the dance floor and get in a circle and put their purses all in the center of the circle and just bounce up and down. It's not even fucking dancing.
They're not aggressive. It's just passive aggressive.
Yeah,
they're just taking up room.
And they try
that could be made up by people that were actually dancing. Yeah. I'm like, if you're just gonna do that, go stand off on the edge.
And then they go woo, woo.
Which I hate that. Oh my god,
I
hate that.
Yeah.
Because it's just so, like I said, I hate all of that like super attention-seeking behavior.
Then they pull the phone out and they take.
It comes across as like so insecure.
They're taking selfies while they're dancing. They're not really dancing. They're just jumping up and down. They're just bouncing up and down.
Like because you can like they're not even like enjoying themselves really. They just want other people on their social media to be like, look, we're out and we're doing stuff. Yeah. We're so cool. And I'm just like, fucking knock it off. Yeah, if you really want to have a good time, just have a good time. Don't take pictures of yourself pretending like you're having a good time.
I chased 5 of them off a fucking dance floor.
Jesus Christ.
Remember I chased them?
I hate that crap.
I remember when I chased them off a dance floor?
I know. Well, they were just standing there.
Standing there, jumping up and down, and one of them was acting a fool and kept bouncing, kept knocking into me. Remember that?
Well, she kept knocking into everybody because she was fucking, I don't know what the fuck.
And she was hopping around like a bunny rabbit, literally.
Oh my god.
Like you see somebody doing the bunny rabbit?
I was going to slug her. And I told Tom, I'm like, I'm going to slug this bitch in a minute.
So, impact number 5, I was like, fuck it. So I just grabbed her around the waist and just started grinding up on her like I was just fucking a porn star and shit. and then fucking when the other ones tried to stop me, I just did the same thing. I'm just fucking just trying to get my nuts up in them and everything, and then they realized that this isn't going to stop. All right, fucking, I'm there to dance, and if you're near me, you're gonna dirty dance. Well, they all just fucking eventually just went, oh, and stampeded off the fucking dance floor. Remember that? And then all the goths took over and filled this vacuum that they left.
Well, they're always kind of happy. It's like hilarious because
when they see me drive them out, they all get happy.
Well, when we were at Mannequins a couple weeks ago, because like I said, everyone was like irritated by these, because it wasn't just wasn't just one dude. It was like 5 or 6 dudes, and they were like in this big crowd, and they were just like being really obnoxious, and they were just kind of like taking up. I mean, the dance floor isn't big, so like they were kind of taking up a lot of room, and people were just getting really annoyed with them. But, you know, we're goths. We're kind of too polite to say anything, so we're just kind of like, whatever. I'm just going to go dance over here because you don't want to, like, start a big fucking fight or anything like that. But it's just kind of like, after a while, you're just kind of like, Jesus Christ, is somebody going to punch these motherfuckers? And then, like, people will start doing passive-aggressive shit, like, just backing into them. And it's like, oh, sorry, like, with the elbow and everything. But, like, they weren't even getting that message. So, after a while, they were just being really obnoxious, and then after that, I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm just going to put my foot out here and just wait for one of them to fall over, and then, you know, Tom started yelling at them, and I started yelling, I'm like, you know what, get the fuck out, it's like, nobody wants you here, and it's like, I don't know what your fucking problem is, and they're like, what did we do, and it's like, yeah, well, figure it out.
Well, they don't have any club culture.
Right,
they don't understand anything about
at last, they got kicked out. The second they got kicked out, all of the goth people flooded the dance floor, and the vibe immediately got awesome.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was just like, woo, we can, like, fucking dance the way we want to dance, and, like, no one is being obnoxious, no one is being a pain in the ass. Yeah. It's just, like, so it just shows how just a couple of people like that can just ruin the night for everybody, but they don't realize that they're doing that, I guess.
Now, Victor, man, last time we were at fucking Barbarella's, there was one up there, man, had your name all over him, all right? They had a dude, old bear, man. They had a bear up there, a hairy-ass bear.
I forgot about that.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Hairy-ass bear.
I forgot about that guy.
Okay. He looked like he'd been lifting some. He had a higher percentage of body fat, but he was like a fucking bear. He had fucking shoulders and chest and arms and all that kind of shit. He was wearing nothing but a G-string and a whole bunch of leather straps.
I think he had some, like, leather wings on, too.
Leather wings.
Was it a black bunny tail?
I think so.
I think it was a puffy.
He had tails and wings
bunny tail
and horns.
That's what I'm talking about. Barbarella, you can just come in wearing leather straps.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, whatevs.
Yeah.
No one looked at him funny, nothing.
No, that dude was...
He danced all night and everybody's like, okay.
Yeah, and that dude was, aside from his junk being covered, was straight up nude, basically.
He was pretty naked. He was pretty naked.
And fucking the girls all cool with it. They're like, yeah, okay, he looked good. He's dressed right and he's behaving right. So it's not like you.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. He was having a good time.
Yeah.
All the like whatever music, and he was into the older music too, because they played a lot of older music like earlier, like Susie and the Banshees.
Yeah, he's about 30.
Yeah, and he was a younger guy.
He was behind me. He
was all into it, man, and I was just like, okay.
He was behind me.
Live your truth, man.
He was behind me in line. He goes, man, you look great, man. Fucking, because he's a
nice dude.
Yeah, he was a gym bro. He was a gym bro. I don't know if he was gay though. I think he was, maybe. It's hard to say. It's fucking hard to say.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like I said, in the goth scene, I don't really worry about it too much because it's just kind of like, man, everyone's so gender fluid that it's like, I'm not really worried about it.
It's about 50-50 probably.
Could be not. Yeah. No one really cares.
Yeah, we didn't know. That's the first time we've seen him.
Well, he came with...
He was definitely a scenester.
We talked to Dimitri, our friend who's the DJ at Memento. And he said, we got a bunch of people that normally go to Mannequins on Friday night, because for a while, I don't know if they still do it, but for a while they were having the quote-unquote baby bat invasion, which was all the little baby goths, which is crazy, but it's like kids 20s. In their 20s who are into like old school goth music.
Yeah, it's funny. They know more shit than we know sometimes.
They do. Like I said, like our friend Nick, who was like fucking, what is he, 21, 22?
Yeah, he can name bands I've never heard of.
Man, he's into like fucking Christian Death and Joy Division. He loves that shit.
He'll know bands
That's how we met him at first, because we saw him, and I was like, oh my God, he looks like a baby. But he looked like an old death rocker. Like he had like a fucking Christian Death shirt on. He had big fucking hair and shit. And I was just like...
You'd love him. You'd love him, Victor. You'd love him, Victor.
He's nice.
He's tall and thin and cute looking, and
he's awesome. I like him.
Yeah, he's straight, but you'd like him. And
we saw him at Mannequins a couple weeks ago, and
he was so trashy, he wasn't even making any sense. I'm like, what? No, what?
He was wasted when he got there, and then like as the night went on, I was just like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm fucking pinching his cheeks, and I'm like, what are you saying, Sonny?
He's like, it was so funny.
I don't know what the fuck he was saying.
He's adorable.
He looks like he kind of looks like a young Johnny Rotten.
He does a bit.
Like a young John Lydon.
A little bit.
Without the fucked up eyes.
Well, and his hair's black.
And his hair's black.
Yeah. His hair's black. He looks like an old school, like I said, he's like an old school. If you time traveled back to the early 80s and went to like some death rock club, like you went to Slimelight or something like that. I don't even know if that was around in the early 80s. But if you went to that or the Batcave or something, he looks like somebody from there.
Yeah.
But it's now, and he's young.
Yeah.
And like I said,
he's like some kid we grew up with.
Yeah, and that's how we met him, because we saw him at Mannequins, and like I said, he was full on death. I was like, oh my God. I was like, he looks like some kid from like 1982.
Yeah.
That I would have known back then.
Aaliyah was his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who was about a
They're not together anymore.
They're not together anymore, but she was like 2 years younger. She was just legal enough to get in. She couldn't drink, though. They're separated now, though. She ended up coming down with a bad drug problem. They're trying to get her some help, but anyway, he's a good kid. They're both good. Yeah. They're both good kids. They come from rough backgrounds, but I'll tell you, they both do. They both come from families that had histories of this problem. he's smart. He's real smart.
Yeah.
And he works, got a job, so he can take care of himself.
Well, doesn't he work like in a print shop or?
He's worked in print shops and restaurants, all kinds of stuff. He fucking gets inebriated, but he's legal.
Well,
he's 21. He's 21.
I can't judge.
He does other shit too, but he's keeping it under
so
control.
So do we. I can't judge.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always giving him lectures about doing junk. I said, do not fucking do that shit. And he's like, yeah, I want to. Because his dad, that killed his dad. And he's always had this fucking kind of secret desire to try it. To see,
there is like
see what his dad went through type deal. I says, dude, do not fucking do that shit. I was telling him all the dudes.
Well,
I told him about
it.
Rich, who my friend was in that, who killed himself with that shit. I don't know anybody who's ever fucked with that and came back out of that normal. And I'm somebody who can smoke opium and walk away from it. I don't think opium's.
I get it, and it's probably worse for people that grew up in the time that we grew up, because there was a weird kind of like romanticism about it.
Heroin chic was
especially
going on in the 90s.
And especially if you were into the goth scene or like any kind of underground art scene or anything like that, because a lot of people were on that, like back in the 70s and 80s. So there was almost some like kind of a romanticism about it, and I kind of like got into that too. But like I never wanted to do it though. I was always like too scared to do it. But I can see how that could be kind of alluring to people.
Yeah, during that era, I was up in Boston, and there were so many just cool, intelligent, and beautiful goth fetish stripper girls who were dying from heroin. One of them was a girl named Sin, and she.
Yeah, a lot of people did. It was fucked up. I mean,
she was
people that didn't grow up back then. You don't understand how many people died really young because of that shit. Yeah, Sin, and AIDS took out a lot of people back then.
Sin was a stripper down the combat zone, but she also was one of the Barbiturates, which is like a dance team that did shows with a fetish industrial band called Sleep Chamber. I was friends with John Zwiz, who was a fucking vocalist for Sleep Chamber. He was much older than me. He's still alive, though. He had a problem, all right? He was friends with Rich, who was my friend at that time, who was 50 back then. But you looked at him, he looked like he's 25. No, he looked like he's about 35, actually. And he died. He killed himself with a pistol. But it was heroin-related, all right? Sin was fucking probably one of the best-looking goth chicks in the scene. And got a hold of some good shit and killed her.
Yeah. Like I said, it happened a lot.
I've showed videos on this show here of her dancing on stage with him, and she was just this beautiful dancer. She was a dancer, really. She was a trained dancer, but she was stripping. That's where their money came from.
Well, yeah, you gotta make money.
Girl got to pay bills, right?
Yeah.
But she had that. She had a fucking super good body, dancer's type body. She wore a black short bob at the ears, kind of like Susie had. It was like that 1920s or 1930s
like that
German
Louise
cabaret
Brooks,
looking. Yeah. And then she'd wear like rubber mini skirts with fucking rubber fucking fucking thigh highs and boots and rubber fucking high fucking cocktail gloves, and she looked great. And she seemed invincible, man. Knowing her, she was great. She had that problem, though. And one day she got a hold of that fucking some good shit and it killed her, man.
That's what I mean. That happened a lot.
Yeah. I remember one time, fucking... I think I already told this on the story. One time she came up and fucking lip locked me and put something in my mouth. And it was a watered up piece of paper. And I went to Rich and said, "What was that?" She goes, "That was Coke." And I was like, oh, okay. So I put it in my back pocket, forgot all about it. That was one of her side gigs, is try to fucking sell Coke.
Right.
So she was trying to make a new customer. But she came over to the fucking house, my apartment, a couple times, and she was trying to hook up. But I was kind of scared of her because of her drug connections. I didn't know how dangerous this was, was she fucking involved in a bunch of organized crime, you know what I mean? Is getting involved. So I was able to kind of get out of that and stay friends with her. I hadn't seen her in about 2 weeks. We had this party, and I said, "So what happened to Sin?" And they just looked at me. She's dead. I was like, "What?" Oh yeah, she died 3 weeks ago. I was like, no, what happened, man? She overdosed. She OD'd. And I was just
happened a lot.
I was just fucking beside myself. And then they went right back to fucking snorting coke and fucking.
Well, like I said,
it was no big deal.
It sounds callous, but it happened a lot.
Yeah, I was like, these motherfuckers are psychos, man.
It's not like we didn't care.
Yeah,
it's just that it happened so much.
Yeah.
Which is fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, you knew people that happened to. You knew people that, committed suicide, like blew their heads off and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's upsetting, but it's like it happened a lot. So.
Yeah, Rich Campbell, what you talking about, blow his head off, was a friend of mine he was in the same scene, and he was friends with John. And he was in, I think he was 52 or 53 at the time he killed himself. His girlfriend's name was Soleil at the time. She was this mixed goth chick. From California. She was fucking great too, but they were both on that shit. She was only about 25 and he was about 52. They got into a fight. They were high and drunk because that motherfucker could snort coke, shoot up, and drink a fifth of fucking scotch and still remain standing.
I can't imagine.
All right, and he was 50 fucking two.
Looking
at him now, looking back at him. Physically, he looks like I look now. He was like a thinner though. He didn't have a lot of muscle on him. He was very well preserved, and he had hair though, black hair. He got into a fucking fight with his girlfriend over the fucking volume of the fucking television while they were watching fucking Excalibur. And according to her, he fucking went into the fucking walk-in closet and came out in his fucking army dress greens fucking top. He got out as a Spec 4. Same rank as me. And he goes, I'm fucking sick of this shit. You got no honor. Fucking, he mentioned, he said, the only people I know that are worth, the only motherfuckers that understand me, basically, he said, in this whole fucking scene are Tom and Eric. And he was talking about me and my other army buddy. Because he was army too. And he goes, I'm sick of this shit. I'm out of here. And put the fucking 38 special revolver to his head, pulled the trigger right in front of her. Blew his head off. Pop. And he hit the ground. In a moment of weakness.
Yeah, because that's...
He wouldn't have done that normally.
I mean, he was probably so fucked up he wasn't thinking about it.
He was fucked up.
That's really sad.
He did that shit in a moment over the volume of the television.
Well, like I said, it wasn't just over that.
No, he was fucking frustrated about a bunch of other shit, but it built up. That's what pushed him over the edge. And I showed a picture of him when he gave me a picture of him on a runway. He had like a side gig doing fashion modeling and shit for the new wave scene when he was a kid. I won't say kid, he's 20s. He gave me one of those pictures. I think I showed it. Is it around here?
It's probably up there. I thought there was something up there that you could... It was in a frame, right?
It used to be in a frame, but I took it out of the frame.
Oh, okay. I thought if it was in a frame, then it's up there. Otherwise, I don't know where it is. Because I thought you showed it before.
Yeah, here it is.
Victor says, throw everything
in a frame.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah.
I remember. Victor says, throw everything they tell you about eating right and exercising out the window. I had a 75-year-old patient who could walk around without assistance, mentally 100% with it, and he was an IV drug user.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
That happens.
So was he, man. And this is him. This is him probably 25. But that was Rich. He kind of reminded me a lot of Gary Newman.
He looks a little bit
kind of like Gary Newman. He's got a little ray gun in his hand.
The 80s.
Yeah. That was Rich.
I mean,
Rich fucking... I think the reason why Rich fucking looks so young at 50 fucking 2 or 53 is because he slept most of the time.
I think a lot of heroin.
He was like a vampire. Yeah.
Well, I think that's why... The thing we've said about this, like I said, I've never done heroin. I've done LSD, I've done coke, I've done, marijuana. But that's about it. And I drink a lot. Yeah. But other than that, it's just like, I never really wanted to do heroin. I'm like, no, I don't want to get involved in that.
Yeah.
But I feel like heroin either kills you super early. If you survive it, then you remain remarkably well preserved into your old age.
Yeah.
Because look at people like Nick Cave or Iggy Pop or somebody like that who are still kicking around and they still are thin and they still like look pretty good, like for as old as they are.
They sleep a lot. They don't eat much. Their
Right.
metabolism
So
just crawling.
I kind of feel like that might be.
I got a feeling that Mick Jagger's a fucking junkie too. I just got a feeling
that would not shock me.
No.
That would not shock me.
I got a feeling those guys are pretty much all junkies.
Like I said, if you don't die when you're young, I think it might have some benefits. But most of the people that are on it are like die when they're pretty young.
But those two, Rich and Soleil, man, every time I'd try to go rouse them, it was like waking vampires up out of the crypt. He lived on Commonwealth Ave. It was fucking nice. He was kind of like the maintenance superintendent of a fucking real expensive building on Commonwealth Ave. His old building looked like a fucking government building or something, all made out of marble and shit. And part of his job, they just gave him a free apartment, and all he had to do is just go fix shit like fucking pipes and shit.
Yeah, so I mean, I've thought about doing that.
Yeah, he had that. Well, there'd be all kinds of shit going on at the club, and fucking, we didn't have cell phones back then. They were existed, but they were fucking super expensive. Only rich people had. And I'd be like, man, where the fuck is Rich? Man, I hadn't seen that dude in a fucking week. And I said, that bitch is fucking laid up there with his fucking bitch, fucking zonked out on fucking junk, man. I'm gonna wake his ass up. And I'm just on a bitch. Fucking Soleil was cool. She was all right.
Yeah, don't call her a bitch. That's
I'm just saying, she kind of helped drag him down because fucking he'd collect. She wasn't the only one. There was a series of these young heroin girls that fucking went through there, and I think they perpetuated his problems. He would attract them, and then they would perpetuate it. So I'd always have to rouse them out of fucking bed and shit. And well, not really bed. They didn't sleep in beds. They slept in couches and on floors. They never made it to the fucking bed.
Right.
You'd see them up in the... Soleil let me in, and fucking we were like... And we're like, there's a fucking event going on. She's like, yeah, that sounds good. And, and fucking he'd be zonked out. She's, you, wake up, Rich. And he's like, come on, get your worthless ass out of bed. He's like, like that. And fucking they'd wake up. And they were... It's just fucking reliving those old times. Fucking Soleil was always trying to pull us into threesomes and shit. She was a fucking kinky bitch. I think she had a porn background. I'm not sure, but she seemed like it.
I'm gonna tell you though, it's like no shade against people that do drugs. If you want to do drugs, that's up to you. But I'm just saying that I've never been a big fan of like, look, if we're gonna go do something like, hey, we're gonna go to this concert or whatever. If I show up at your fucking house and you are sleeping and I have to wake you up and you have to like get dressed and stuff, like I'm just going by myself.
Yeah, that's not the way it was back then, That's not the way it was. When you're young.
Because I don't have the patience for that bullshit. I just really don't.
When you're young and back in those days.
When we're going somewhere, we're going somewhere at the time we said we're going to go somewhere. I'm not coming there and like waiting 3 hours for your dumb ass to wake up and get ready. I'm sorry.
That's not how it was though.
Because, no, I know, and I knew a lot of people like that. Because look, I'm a very, I'm not going to say I'm a super put together person, but I was just like, look, if we plan something and we're going to do something at a particular time, I'm planning on doing something at that particular time. I'm going to be ready, and you better be fucking ready, or I'm going without you. That's all I'm saying.
You see, what was happening at this time, there wasn't cell phones, and I was in Boston, and Boston has a T system, a train system, subways.
Yeah.
And all you had to do is just buy the T pass. It was like fucking $15 or $20 a month. And you could go anywhere in the city. And it was quick and pretty easy. So it was actually easier to just jump on a T and go to somebody's house to check on him. And, he wasn't showing up to the club, regularly. I'm like, well, tonight's fucking going to be a good night, man. It's fucking Wednesday. It's fucking goth night. That bitch hasn't been there in fucking 2 weeks. I'm going to go get his ass. So you go down there early.
Yeah.
At like 7. Because, you got to give them time to fucking get ready and shit, And so I'd go down there early and start. And they'd be asleep at fucking 7 in the evening, Because
which I can't
they're
fathom.
fucking zonked out, And once you got him moving.
I can't live that way.
Once he got moving, he was all right. They were both, And Soleil was fun, man. She was fun to fucking be around because I'm like fucking 25 at this time. Soleil was probably about the same age, 24, 25. And fucking Rich was like 50-something, but he looked like he was in his fucking 30s, you know. And Soleil would just do fucking crazy shit that was really entertaining, you know. She'd start stripping or dancing or fucking, you know, trying to fucking... Then she'd kick his ass and try to, like, beat him up and pull him out of bed. And, you know, then she'd go back to fucking doing shit like trying to squat on his head and fucking, you know, trying to fuck on the back of his head and shit, you know. Then she'd go tell you to go get her a fucking drink out of the fucking... Give me the vodka out of the freezer. And I went and got the vodka out of the freezer and found a frozen cat in there. And I was like, what the fuck, man? What's the cat doing in here?
I'm like, oh my god, did I suddenly get transported into the movie May, or what happened?
And she goes, yeah, the cat died. And I was like, what the fuck's it doing in the freezer?
And can we elaborate on that a little bit? Why is this...
Yeah.
Why did you not bury the poor kitty?
Well, because it was frozen. The ground was frozen outside. They were in the middle of the city.
Okay, fair enough.
And he didn't want to throw the cat away.
Okay, well, I get that.
Okay.
But that's what I mean. That needs a little elaboration.
Well, I'm giving it elaborating right now. I didn't have it at first.
I get it then.
I fucking opened up the freezer to get the fucking...
That's still messed up, though.
To get a bottle of vodka out of there. There's a fucking cat laying in there, man. A fucking rock solid. And it's the cat that I recognize as his cat. What the fuck is the cat doing in here? Oh, the cat died.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah. The cat died. That's what the fuck's it doing in the freezer? Just, he didn't want to throw it out, and we couldn't bury it because it's frozen outside, and, you know, and it's all concrete and shit.
Okay, that's fair enough.
So we have to take it somewhere and bury it.
That's still weird, but it's like at least they have a reason.
Yeah. And I was like, how long has it been in there? And she goes, only a few days. But, you know, I was just like, okay.
I'm not sure what I would do in the same situation. That's like really upsetting to think about.
Cat's in a freezer.
That's upsetting.
Well, the cat was clean enough to be on the fucking couch and be walking around, so they just said, "We'll just put him in the freezer." You know, they had him up on a freezer rack.
Like I said, I get it. I get it. I do.
Keep him frozen so he wouldn't
start
rot.
Weird. It's weird, but it's. I
think I just have to say no. I'm gonna have to throw the cat out.
See, I don't know.
I'm not gonna keep a frozen cat in the freezer.
I don't know if I could do that. It's like I don't know. It would be. That's like I said. It's kind of a hard decision.
Yeah, it was an old cat. It just died of old age.
I know,
it was
but
old
it's just like, you know.
I remember when that shit happened.
We have 3 fur daughters of our own. So
yeah.
It's kind of hard to think about. Mr. 88 said Tom is man-laborating.
I'm man-laborating.
Like elaborating, but like man-laborating.
Well, you see, the way a man tells a story, we tell you what happened, and then I go back and fucking tell you what it was like.
Then they tell you again what happened.
Then I tell you what happened again, and then I go back and describe it, and then I tell you what I learned from it, and then I tell you what you should learn from it. That's how.
And then they turn around and tell you that women talk too much.
Yeah, and then women don't know how to tell a story. Okay.
Even though men will go on for hours and hours and hours about one thing, but you know what I mean. I'm just saying.
You want more to drink?
Yeah, why not?
Go.
It's Friday night. We're not going anywhere.
Okay.
I mean, you know, we were at the biker bar earlier, but I was Zach couldn't be here tonight because he texted me earlier and said, "Oh, I can't come to the show tonight because he had some other shit to do." But I was like, "Yeah, I'm at a biker bar right now," and Night Ranger was on the jukebox. It was Sister Christian, and I was just kind of like, which okay. But I was kind of like complaining about that. But then like somebody, I don't know who it was, because you can pay to like put stuff on the jukebox, but I don't know who it was because there was a bunch of other people there. So after that, I was just kind of like, okay, whatever, Night Ranger. But then like all this country music came on, because prior to that it had been like okay, it just been like Led Zeppelin and stuff and Jimi Hendrix, and I'm just like, all right, I'm all right with that. But then like all this country music came on, and I'm like, oh no, is this the direction we're going in now? But then it was like 3 or 4 country songs, and I was like, oh my god, please kill me. But then somebody put NXS on, and I was just like, okay. I don't love NXS, but at least it was one of the 2 NXS songs that I actually like, so I wasn't all that upset about it. But yeah, so we drank kind of a lot. Like I said, we were there because a couple of our friends were there on the way to Daytona for Biketoberfest. We hadn't seen them in a long time, and they're apparently moving away, so we wanted to see them before they moved. So that was kind of fun. But Bryce says, from what I've seen, there's a big difference. Heroin addicts die way early. Oh, because Camp Guy asked, what's the difference between a heroin junkie and an alcoholic or a pothead?
Big differences.
Yeah, that's what Bryce said. Big difference. Heroin addicts die way early. I've known a lot of strippers and prostitutes hooked on junk that died. Yeah, like I said, in my experience, you know, just people that I've known and people that I've heard about and stuff, people that are addicted to heroin, they either die real early, like in their 20s.
Of an overdose.
Yeah. If they live, like, yeah, they might turn out okay, but they usually don't. Alcoholics and potheads.
Yeah.
It depends on how early you start and how much of it you do.
Alcoholics tend to burn out fast and they look like shit by the time they hit the 40. They look like shit. And
I mean, I don't think they...
And then they fall out of the scene, you never see them.
Yeah. I mean, some of them die kind of early, like from, you know, if they're real alcoholics,
fucking
they'll die from like
shit.
fucking,
Wrecking cars.
like in a wreck or, you know, cirrhosis of the liver or something like that. But some people can be like just mild alcoholics for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But they'll just look like crap.
In big cities, female alcoholics end up dying as lesbians, which that was a weird thing that fucking was happening when we were there. Fucking where I was there. Fucking usually they were kind of like strippers. They couldn't hold jobs. They couldn't really do anything because they were just such bad drunks. Dudes didn't want to take care of them. They got sick of it. Dudes would pass them around for a while, and then they would end up getting, no, I don't want that. And then they would end up going to lesbian bars and going there. And then those girls would run through them. Then they wouldn't make it. And a lot of them dead by 40. Weird.
Yeah.
That's why there's a stereotype that lesbians fucking are alcoholics. That's where it comes from.
Is there?
Yeah.
I never heard that.
There's a stereotype in Boston that lesbians drink a lot.
Oh, that must be a Boston thing.
Yeah, and lesbians drank a lot and they didn't tip. Most fucking...
I never heard that either.
Bartenders would tell you that.
The only thing I've heard about people not tipping was rich people not tipping.
Okay.
That's the only stereotype I've heard. But I've never heard about other people not tipping.
Yeah. In Boston...
Oh, and church people not tipping.
Yeah.
Like on Sundays when they come there after church, like a lot of them don't tip. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that from a lot of restaurant people.
Stereotypes in Boston of the lesbian crowd was that they didn't tip. They drank a lot of violence. They fought each other a lot.
Yeah, I mean maybe that's true, but that might be Boston specific.
That's just weird. And that was also 90s when I was hearing that. I haven't really seen that recently. I guess you could say around here, but Florida's a very different environment than New England. New England is like its own. It's like another country. It is another country, totally different country, different culture. And in the 90s, lesbians were kind of divided into male and female gender. I guess would be a good way to put it. Some of them just looked like girls. The other ones they were like dressing like guys. And alcohol was fucking big in that scene. I knew one. I was friends with a butch. She was cool.
Like I said, I knew some too, but it's just like I guess the scene was kind of different, maybe in different cities, because I never really had that impression. Like I said, I wasn't like super hardcore into it, but but I did know a couple people in that scene, and it's like I never got that impression. So, but like I said, different cities have different scenes, so it might have been different.
Well, Robin, I told you about Robin. Robin was a soft butch. She'd hang out at the fucking goth clubs and shit. And every now and then, she'd take me home and we'd have sex. I didn't know what the fuck was going on with that, and then she'd disappear. Found out later on that fucking a lot of lesbian girls fucking at certain times of their cycles fucking will sleep with guys. But I don't know how, but that's something.
Well, I mean, it might just be for entertainment purposes or...
Well, of course. It's just hormones.
Right.
It's when they're ovulating, they'll sleep with guys. They say that that's pretty universal. Some of them, if they can. Now, there was another one that was just... The other one, I forgot what her name, but... It's been a long time. She used to hang out at the dungeon. And she used to sit right next to me. We'd drink together just like fucking two dudes. And talk about shit. And she would fucking talk about women. It was fucking horrible. Talk about she was sexist as shit, man. And she could drink. She could fucking really drink.
Interesting.
Yeah, she was like fucking women are fucking bitches and this and that. She was like that. You can't judge it. But she didn't like guys either. But, this is just weird.
Yeah, I'm kind of more along those lines. I don't really like people in general.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that. I'm just saying I reserve judgment.
Yeah.
My default setting is I don't really like people.
Yeah.
But when I meet a new person, I'm like, maybe you will be the one that won't disappoint me. Maybe. We'll see. Like, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just kind of like when I meet that person, I don't have any judgment about that person, depending on what they look like or whatever. I'm just kind of like, wow me. Like, just be you, and we'll see how things work out.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's cool. Sometimes that person is awesome. Sometimes that person is a stone cold nightmare. But you never know. Like I said, so I'm kind of like halfway in between people suck generally.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to judge people until I meet them individually. Is that weird? Yeah. Is it weird? It is kind of weird. I don't know. Well, like I said, I like to just give people the benefit of the doubt. But like I said, if you come at me kind of cool, then cool. But if you come at me kind of, you know, I don't know. It's maybe it's weird. It's contradictory. I get it. Danny Rowling said, "Do Tom and Jenny carve pumpkins for Halloween and cook the seeds?" We have done.
I just cook pumpkins mostly.
We carved pumpkins last year. We have some pumpkins this year, some little ones.
I got pumpkins. I got pumpkin puree from last year.
We still have some frozen pumpkin puree because we bought a bunch of pumpkins last year. We carved 2 or 3 of them, and then after Halloween, we scraped out all the meat. Like, we roasted them and scraped out all the meat, and we still have some of that from last year.
Yeah, it's frozen though. And I got new pumpkins I bought.
Yeah, because we make stuff with it. We make curry with it. We make pumpkin bread. We make all kind of stuff.
Mr. 88 says, "Isn't fighting in Boston a matter of course?" It was, especially in the 80s. But I was there in the like mid 90s, and it had calmed down some. The ones that used to fight a lot in the 80s were like skinheads would fight a lot.
We kind of had that too in Central Florida. There was a big skinhead contingent.
Skinheads and punk rockers would fight each other a lot. But those two...
Yeah, we had that too. We had that in Central
Those two
Florida
factions kind of vanished over time.
And I'm talking about like 80s and 90s.
Yeah. When I was there, Boston was becoming gentrified. It was... The rents were going up, and all the retail space prices were going way up. So everybody was being kind of priced out. So the kind of people that would be fighting in bars and shit couldn't live there anymore. So it was becoming more upper class. Even the clubs that I remember from that era, like fucking Man Ray and everything, and Hex, and I think it was called Hex or Hexen. Been a long time.
Ooh, like that old silent movie.
I think it might have been just called Hex.
Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah,
that's a good movie actually.
And they're all gone. Yeah. Man Ray got torn down, and they built a fucking bookstore there for a while. And then that's gone because I don't know, people don't buy books. You know, not like it was. Not enough to keep it open. In a place like Boston, the rents are too high. Boston is almost kind of like, in a certain way, the snotty neighborhood of New York City. They're fucking snots, man. I liked people from Boston that were born there, and they were like working class. Okay? Like the Italians and the Irish and shit. They were there forever. They're kind of roughneck, and they were a little bit more, I could see more eye to eye to them. Most of the ones that I was dealing with were people that moved there, and they were moved there to go to the Ivy League colleges or to pretend to go to Ivy League colleges. That's another thing. You have fake Ivy League college people there. They weren't in those schools, but they pretended to. You know, it was a clusterfuck. It was a good experience for like I lived there for 4 years, and I had fun, but I couldn't live there for much longer than that. There's a lot of limitations in what you can do there. It's very, very gentrified. You're going to be living in an apartment. You're not really going to be able to own a car or a motorcycle. You'll never be able to really like shoot guns or have any fun like that. You're going to be working in a fucking office, you know. The closest thing that I would consider to be fun in Boston would either be a cop or a criminal. I'd like that. The rest of those jobs, that's like almost kind of like I don't want to sound demeaning, but it's almost kind of like woman's work or something. You know what I mean? That's not the kind of shit that I would.
Oh, that doesn't sound demeaning at all.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, fuck that. What do they need somebody like me to go into an office for? That's like wasting talent. You know what I mean? They don't.
But it's not wasting talent if I have to do it.
Yeah, well, you're not. You don't have the background that I have. You know, fucking.
So I'm not as good? Is that what you're saying?
You're not designed to fuck people up. You know what I mean? Fucking. I like something that's difficult where I could probably get killed doing it. That's not in Boston. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm not as good. Noted.
It's not as good. It's just different. All right. You're a civilian. I wasn't fucking raised as a civilian. You know. All right.
Tom always tries to.
Okay, whatever.
He's always like.
I'm not going to talk anymore
because digging himself
we're gonna have all
deeper.
this fucking misandry. You know,
he's digging
coming
himself
at me.
in deeper and deeper.
Okay.
Tammy says, I had an 18-year-old little dog that I had to put in our extra freezer for a weekend because I was going to get him cremated and they weren't open.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. I get it.
That's what Rich did, but the thing is,
that's what I mean. It does seem a little weird when somebody's over your house and it's like, why is there a pet in your freezer?
Here's the thing.
I get it.
Here's the thing. Rich had that fucking cat in that freezer. When I found it, she said it was there for a couple of days. That's what she said. I had more of a feeling it was there for a couple of weeks.
Well, maybe they just forgot.
When Rich killed himself, probably about 6 months later, that cat was still in there.
Man, that's...
Now, the seasons hadn't really 100% turned yet.
Right, but... That
cat was in there for a long time. And it wasn't wrapped up. It was just sitting there like it was asleep on the rack.
Oh my God, they didn't put it in a bag or anything?
No. She just put him in there like he was just this little cat freezing in there, you know.
I know you're on heroin, but get your shit together, you know what I'm saying?
They were trying to be respectful, I guess.
At least, I mean, I get it. I do.
They loved the cat.
But come on.
The cat could sit on the fucking couch without being in a plastic bag. So they thought it could sit on a fucking freezer rack without being in a plastic bag.
This is like upsetting me so much because I'm just like thinking about.
That cat was loved though.
I know, but it's like I'm thinking about our kitties, and I'm just like I don't know what I would do in that situation. I don't like thinking about it.
The cat had been sick for a while and fucking fell asleep and never woke up, and they found it was dead.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't like thinking about that.
Yeah.
When we were talking about
that cat was like old.
Yeah,
like 12, 13 years old type of deal.
Well, that's not that old. Some cats can live till they're like 20 or 21.
Well, it was old enough. It died of something.
Okay. Camp Guy said, I knew a lady that started drinking, and she died within 2 or 3 years. And he said, I've been going for decades. Yeah, I'd be in big trouble if I'd... Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, I didn't really start drinking heavily until I was in my late 30s, like mid to late 30s. Like when I was in my teens and like 20s and stuff, I drank a little bit, but not... I would drink like every now and then. I wasn't really that into it. I didn't really start like drinking a lot until I was in my mid 30s, so maybe I'm okay. I don't know. Bryce says, oh, wait a minute. Mr. 88 says, maybe you'll be the one that won't disappoint me. That's gold. Yeah, I kind of want... Tammy said we need a t-shirt that says that. I kind of need a t-shirt that it's like, please try not to disappoint me. That's what the shirt's going to say. You're gonna, though. But yeah, Bryce says, in my experience, a lot of lesbians hate guys. I think it might be because of competition. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Maybe.
Or one that used to fucking sit right next to her. I don't know if I sat next to her. We'd sit next to each other at the bar. This is at the place called the Dungeon, which was downstairs of the House of Blues. Fucking in those days, it's gone now, but it was at Harvard Square. There was a House of Blues there, and it was a small one. And they had a downstairs bar called the Dungeon. It was goth as shit. You'd have loved it, Jetty. Walls were red and black, and it had fucking
just like my
bars all the way around it, so it looked like you were in a big cage. And the fucking the bar countertop had a big painted fucking landscape of hell on it, and it had a fucking...
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it had a whole fucking hell theme.
I like that.
And they had a fucking jukebox that had a whole bunch of Morrissey and fucking the Smiths on it and a bunch of other stuff. It was all music you would have liked. And you had goths would go in there sometimes, but it was normies and goths and punk rockers and weirdos. You could go in there.
That's my favorite kind of place.
Yeah, and I don't remember the girl's name, man. She was a little bit older than me, I think, by about a year or two. She just was rough looking butch, you know, fucking whole 9 yards, and leather jackets and fucking 50s looking Elvis hair and shit, you know, just like that. Smoking cigarettes. She was cool, but I think she was from prison. I think she did some prison time. She had a bunch of tattoos on her. She drank fucking a lot. She didn't have a job. I don't remember what I can't remember where she got her money. It wasn't panhandling. It was something kind of like that. I don't remember. Her and her girlfriend were doing something. They were making money. She was always fighting with her girlfriend. She's being a bitch. She's doing this. I told her. It's just that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And she doesn't want to do this and that. And that. Fuck those bitches. She's like that, you know. It's like talking to an angry dude.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, I know how it is, man. She's like, this is like that. We're commiserating. I know how it is, man. She goes, they don't know that.
Those cons, man.
It's like that kind of shit.
I getcha.
Yeah. You know, there's just shit like that. But fucking, what was weird is that after you say that they hate men. That particular one, I don't think did.
Yeah, I never. Like I said, I've known a lot of lesbians in my time.
Yeah.
I never really got that impression.
Yeah.
I don't think they hate men. They don't really think about men. Yeah. Usually.
Right.
When they do, they're just kind of like, ah.
Yeah.
They don't really think about it.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like
her girlfriend would show up, and she didn't look lesbian. She was just a fat girl. And they would fight, talk shit to each other, and then she'd leave. She'd storm out of there. But they lived together.
Right.
That's what was going on there. Now I don't know how long that lasted. I only knew that chick for, you know, I would just run into her maybe like 6 months or a year. Yeah. Maybe like, you know, once a week.
Right.
You know, for about a year. You know, it's just like somebody you see at the club.
Right. Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah, you go there like once a week and you see the person and talk to them. Right.
It's like that. Actually, no. I went to the fucking. I pre-gamed a lot at the dungeon. I probably went there 3 times a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd stop off there and get a drink before I go to the club.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, and then sometimes it was kind of like a traditional British pub. You just go down there and hang out. You know what I mean? And people would come in and out. They were kind of regulars. So you all kind of like knew each other, kind of, but it was just like only in the pub. The whole area was like kind of like all the little bars were kind of set up as kind of like Irish pub type situations. Some of them, like you said, we talking about Irish have where they're serving food too, and see, they were serving food down there, but it was House of Blues food.
Right.
You could get a pizza down there, but it was like made on naan bread. Kind of, it was still really good, and it was like only like $6.
Nice.
Back then, you know, it was a naan bread with some tomato sauce and some cheese and some shit on.
I mean, I'd eat that. Not gonna
just fill you up, you know. And I was blowing through money, man. I was making good money there and just spending it all like an idiot, you know. Just like spend it all, and I didn't have a girlfriend that lived with me at that time.
Yeah.
To help me with the fucking bills.
Yeah.
Which I should have, but I was kind of fucking stupid. Because I was like, well, why could I have one when I could have them all? That was the thinking. You know,
you still kind of feel. You still kind of think.
You're kind of greedy. You know.
You're
what I
still
mean?
kind of. You're still kind of talking about a harem nowadays.
Yes, I'm not gonna have. I don't need that. You know, fucking. I don't need one, man. Fucking. You know what the hell?
I want all of them.
I want all of them. Right.
I want all of them.
If I bring one in here and she helps me with the fucking rent and shit, then I'm stuck with her.
Then she's not gonna let me have all the other ones.
Well, what it is. You know, when you're in your 20s,
we're cramping your style.
When you're in your 20s, you really think you're the shit. You know what I mean? And fucking,
I know. I was in my 20s and met dudes in my 20s.
You really
believe me, I know. What
because you have so much time ahead of you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You think that, well, I have not yet achieved my greatness. You know what I mean? So there's no reason for me to commit to any of these women because, fucking, you know, 20 years from now, I'm going to be such a badass, you know what I mean? And then I'll be fucking 40 and I'll get a fucking 25-year-old girlfriend. You know, that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah. Let me tell you girls something if you're listening to this program. All right, this is out of my personal experience as a man. A lot of you guys might be out there, a lot of these young women out there may be thinking about dating dudes and going out with these guys. And you're single and you're trying to, I don't know, maybe get a husband or something. If that dude's about 38, 37, 38, and he's not married and doesn't have any kids, forget it. He's chosen his life.
Something's the matter.
Well, it's not the matter. It's just that he's chosen his life. He's not gonna get married. Okay.
Well, it's like it's okay if they've already been married or divorced.
Right.
or something like that. Because I've like met someone. Well, you've been married before.
I was
married
divorced
before.
without children.
Right. Yeah, me too.
But when I met Jenny, I was about 38. I had no intentions of ever getting married again.
Yeah. And
None.
He told me that in no uncertain terms.
Yep. It wasn't until like 15 years later after hanging out with this chick, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm kind of fucking her over if I don't, because fucking shit, we don't have that much time left, and fucking if I die, she's stuck out.
Yeah.
She done 13 years of good service.
That's, yeah.
So,
that's when we started thinking about it.
Started realizing, shit, it's like I've already been married to her anyway.
Yeah, it's not like you're...
It's not like anything different. I'm not going anywhere.
That's what I mean.
So...
It's not like you're running around trying to get a harem,
Right.
well, that I know of.
No.
But, you know, you might be, but I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
No.
I don't think you are.
No.
But, you know.
No. That, well, all guys
I'm not either.
See, here's the thing. You're thinking it's me. No, all guys are like that.
I know they are.
They're all like that.
Yeah, we all know that all of y'all are like that.
I'm just honest. I'm just honest about it. We're kind of wired that way, but over time, you know what I mean, your wisdom can realize that, well, shit, that's just kind of impractical. You know what I mean? And also, that's not really the best situation for you as a man, especially if you're not a fucking billionaire. Okay? Because the dudes that actually did that kind of shit or do that shit have a shit ton of money. So they have very little to lose through divorces and stuff. You know what I mean? They're well protected. Or they were dudes back in fucking antiquity like fucking Genghis Khan who had like 600 wives and fucking... I've seen the fucking data. The natural situation between men and women is kind of like what you'd see with fucking walruses. It's harems. Because... women have hypergamy where they will actually rather be single than to be with a fucking average dude. They want to be with an above average guy. They'll share that dude if they have to.
Well, I wouldn't.
Well, you wouldn't, but a lot of them will. Okay? And if you don't, then you don't count. Because the guys that have those harems are the women that would.
Oh, well.
So it's self-selection. You know what I mean? And,
I don't mind not counting.
Yeah.
I'm not really concerned about it.
Women date either over or over and up. You know, they want a guy who has more than that they have. 6-pack, 6 foot tall, 6 figures income. Basically, they go out. They want a guy who's better than them. They want somebody to look up to. They don't really want an equal. They definitely don't want to date down. And it's just the way women are built, which I don't blame them. I would be the same way. The problem is that the guys that are the top tier guys, the top 10% of those guys, they're all going after the same 20% of the guys, depending on whatever age group it is. Those dudes have fucking 10 girls after them. So there's a lot of competition. And the guys that have a lot of money, they're millionaires or above, billionaires, have 3 or 4. So in some cultures, it's fucking legitimized. You know what I mean? That's just the way it's system. Islam, everything that is Islamic is like that. There's if you can afford 3, then you can have 3. And it's just they've been that way for fucking since 700 AD.
Yeah, because men run and shit.
Yeah.
Tammy says, I don't know any woman that would share a man. I don't either.
Yeah, they're called gold diggers. All right?
Well, yeah, but
those dudes have them. They'll have lots of them.
But like I said,
yeah,
every woman I know would not share a man.
When I grew up partially in Brazil, and Brazilian guys who had a lot of money, they were multimillionaires, had a wife, but they also had 3 or 4 mistresses, in their own apartments and everything, and that was just like
the thing about that is that how much of that is the dudes have some money, so the women are just putting up with it. They don't like it necessarily, but they're just putting up with it.
But they seek it out.
Do they?
Yeah, they do seek it out because it's a huge move up for them.
I mean, I wouldn't do that. I'm just saying that it's just kind of like
because their men, in other words, their peer men, right, are laborers, okay, making kind of like the equivalent of today, probably like $15,000 a year, maybe less, and she's living like she's making $150,000 a year. So the men of their equivalent status could never afford that lifestyle, could never give it to them. So, no, it's just the way it is. Central and South America is just like that. It's part of the culture. It's like professional girlfriends. Here, that's not as... Right now, that's not really a thing. Here, it's business guys who have a shit ton of money. They have a wife and they have a family. And then they have fucking escorts. They don't keep them around, but that's the difference. In South America, they'd keep them around. They'd have them in an apartment. It's a girlfriend, basically.
Bryce says, I don't know about hypergamy, LOL. Women are pretty diverse in my experience. Mine also, but, men don't really look at women as diverse, apparently. Some want to go up and others don't care. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah. My girl didn't date up. She's from a rich family, unlike me. Yeah. Mr. 88 said, Tom has a very meat market view of dating. He does. Some people do fall in love, which, I would have thought that it'd been nice if Tom was in love with me, but...
That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
He's very meat markety.
I'm talking about it.
He's very meat markety.
It's numbers and statistics. I'm just looking at the numbers, the statistics, and the patterns.
Which is a really fucked up way of looking at stuff.
Life is like that. Life is pretty bad.
It's not, though.
I think it is.
It's not, though.
All right.
That's
I love you.
That's a sad way of looking at stuff.
I tell her I love her all the fucking time.
That's a sad way of looking at stuff.
I tell her I love her all the fucking time.
I know you do, Tom, but it is kind of like a fucked up way of looking at stuff.
I don't look at other people like they're me. I don't project.
I don't either.
I just look at what the data says.
No, I just look at other people as individual people. I don't really give a shit what the statistics say.
Well, no, I look at individuals, but then I could get like a 30,000 foot view and just look at the whole fucking thing of what's happening. And yeah, it's like what the data suggests. There's a lot of hypergamy. Women in general, especially certain age groups. When I'm talking about women, I'm actually talking about women of, I guess you can say, between their 20s and 30s. That's mostly who I'm talking about. Ones that have not yet married, they're trying to marry maybe, or they're trying to have kids. Those. The ones that aren't in that game, you can't really count those because they're not in that game. They tend to go for guys that are not at their level, but above their level. In terms of just income, how they look physically. They're and way above average, actually, is what women like. Way above average. Those young women, 20s and 30s, will share a guy. Sometimes knowingly.
Good for them. Yeah. But I would not do that. And everybody
they're trying to move
would
up.
Would not do that either.
Yeah, no, not all of them. I'm not saying all of them.
I don't know anyone that would do that.
I'm not. Well, what ends up happening is that the dude's not marrying one of them. What he does, he's dating all of them.
Yeah, but I don't know any chicks that would do that. Like, not knowingly, anyway. They might like go out with a dude knowing like
that he's dating other people.
Like not knowing that he was dating other people and being like, oh my god, like this dude's awesome and blah blah blah, but not knowing that he was like fucking other chicks on the side.
Oh well.
Because that's happened to me as well. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well,
when I was like, oh well, okay, didn't know.
When I was in my 20s, when I was in my 20s dating.
So bye.
When I was in my 20s dating, that was the standard.
Well,
not only with me, but with the women I was dating. They were dating other people too.
We're talking about like when people are dating.
Yeah.
I'm talking about there's a difference between when you're dating somebody and you're just like, oh, well, we're just kind of going out casually. And the understanding is, oh, well, I'm dating other people casually as well. Like, I get that. As long as everybody knows what's going on, that's whatever. But it's like if one person in the party thinks that, oh, well, it's exclusive.
Yeah.
But you're still dating other people on this line. You're not telling that person.
Well, that's a different situation.
Then that's kind of fucked up.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right, okay.
Like I said, as long as everybody is clear about what's going on, I don't have a problem with anything. But a lot of times, and I've experienced this myself, I know a lot of people that have experienced this also, where you think, because of what this dude has said or something like that you are the only person that they're going, oh my god, it's so serious and blah blah blah. But they're dating other people, sometimes multiple other people on the side, and you didn't know about it. Yeah, that's fucked up.
Okay, well, it's my understanding of what I'm talking about. Maybe I should clarify. It's my understanding that in these situations where the guy has multiple women, the other women know.
Like I said, if they know and they still choose to do that, then that's fine. I mean, that's obviously because they know what they're getting into.
Yeah,
but if they don't know that, then that's fucked up.
They know, and that there was never any promise of exclusivity.
That's what I mean. But
it's just that he has enough income to keep them. What's a good way to put it? To keep them fucking kind of like on the borderline for years.
Because here's the thing: a lot of dudes will do, and like I said, I've had this done to me, and I've had a lot of friends that had this done to them, where dudes will pretend,
something might happen,
that something's like, and they're, oh my god, I love you, and it's like, I'm not, like, there's nobody else, blah blah blah, but it's like, meanwhile, they're fucking other chicks on the sly and like not telling you about it, so they're kind of like leading you on a little bit. And I've had that happen to me. I've I've had several friends that happened to, so it's just kind of like I said, as long as everybody is on the same page about what the situation is, it's like, look, if you know that you're dating this rich dude and he's fucking, 10 other women at the same time, and you're okay with that, knock yourself out. But it's like, if this dude is telling you, hey, you're the only person and blah, and I'm going to marry you one day and blah, 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 but you're still doing that shit, then that's shitty.
Okay, well, my understanding based on how it was described to me, what these dudes are doing. A lot of them don't talk, okay? They don't say exactly what you're doing.
Well, probably they should.
It's secondhand. No, well, it's secondhand information. They don't give up. They don't want to give up their business. You know what I mean? It's the kind of situation where it's not 10 women. It's like maybe 2, 3, 4.
Well, I was just I was exaggerating for narrative purposes.
And what the deal is that he's dating. He's not committed to anybody. Okay, he's still on the market looking, but this motherfucker's got sports cars and fucking maybe a plane, multiple houses and shit. And you're dating him, he likes you, you like him, you're like, man, I want to land this dude. And he goes, I like you so much, I'm gonna fucking put you in an apartment that I own. And then all of a sudden, you're now living rent free on one of his fucking apartments, or he's paying your rent. All right. So now you're kind of dependent on him now. You comfortable with that.
Which in a way is a little bit manipulative.
Yeah, but he does like you. And he is thinking about it. It's just part of his thing. And he thinks he's helping you. But you start to become addicted to the help.
Well, and the thing is, and I think the thing about dudes like that is that they know that it's like, if I make these chicks dependent on me in that way, then it's like you can string them along
for a long time,
and that's shitty. Because you're kind of letting this woman think, like, look, if you're renting that woman's apartment, you're paying for her to live, she's like, oh my god, this is like serious. That's what she's gonna think. But to him, it's not serious because he has a lot of money. But it's like she's gonna take it that way. So I kind of feel like even if he didn't say it outright, that's still like kind of manipulative.
Well, it's kind of serious to him. It's just not that serious. You know what I mean?
But I'm just saying, I'm a big advocate of everybody just laying everything out on the table and everybody being on the same page about shit.
It would be like me, right? Giving some chick $10 a month.
Right.
They'd be like that. And then I have like 4 of them that I'm each giving $10 a month. That's not much money. But to them, that would be a lot. All right? They're living off.
Tom loves me. He gave me $10 a month.
That's what
that's enough to buy 2 drinks at Starbucks.
Yeah. Well,
not actually. I don't think that is enough to buy 2 drinks. Maybe 1.5.
The dudes that we're talking about, right? The dudes that we're talking about paying $2,000 a month for her rent. That'd be like me spending $10.
Right, I get that.
It's not a big deal.
But to another person who is in the real world, that's a lot of money.
Right.
If some motherfucker was paying my rent, I'd be like, oh my god, this motherfucker loves me. Or that serious, like, I don't know if I'd think he loves me because I'm not that delusional, but it's like, I'm old. But I would think, well, at least it's kind of serious, like he's paying my rent and shit like that. So I would think, I would have some expectation in that regard. And I think like a lot of women would, even if he didn't say anything outright.
Right, well, what those dudes do, all right, is that they might have 2 or 3 girlfriends that they're doing that to. And they can string them along for fucking 10 years.
Oh, exactly. Oh, I know.
And he's giving them cars, and he's giving them this, and they're like, you know what? This motherfucker may never marry me, but he's a fucking job. I've got cars, I got this, I got that.
And like I said, if that's all you want, and you don't really give a shit about it, then fine. Then, like I said, as long as everyone's on the same page, and everyone's getting what they want, then I don't have any problem with that kind of setup.
The only downside of it to this situation for the woman probably, it's not these other women. According to what I heard, they don't care about the other women. They just as long as the money doesn't stop flowing. Well, shit, I was going to say what they were really worried about, and it fucking slipped on my head. There's something else that they're really worried about.
What, the rich dudes don't want them fucking other dudes?
Exactly. That's what it is.
Because, of course. Why did I know that?
Why did I know that?
Why did I know that? Because there is a huge fucking double standard.
The problem is that the dude actually expects exclusivity.
But he will not give it in return.
Fuck no.
Which, like I said, that is a
harem.
That is a big problem.
This is a harem.
Right.
Okay. He expects exclusivity. If he he doesn't probably realize that it's a harem, but it's a harem now. Okay. If he catches you dating somebody else, he's gonna pull your funding.
See,
he's like, oh, we're breaking up. That's what's gonna happen.
See, that kind of thinking is emblematic to me.
Yeah.
Of how dudes like that don't see the woman as a person with like agency.
Well,
because it's like they think, well, I'm paying for this bitch's apartment or whatever, like then I'll fuck her every now and then or whatever. But it's like, oh, well, she's not allowed to date anybody. I can date whoever I want though, but she's not allowed to. That is messed up.
Yeah, that's not exactly how guys see it though. But this is how guys see it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you the way a guy actually sees it.
Oh, okay. This should be.
Man,
good.
I got all these women. I love them all. That's as simple as it is. Good. It's that fucking simple. I'm so fucking rich.
But I said,
I can have 5 girlfriends. I love every one of them.
That is indicative.
That's actually what's going on.
That the dudes do not see the women as actual people.
Yeah, they do.
They don't though, because it's like if they actually saw them as people, they'd be like, hey, maybe they would like to have some fun too and like go out and do their own thing. But it's like they don't see it like that. They're just
they're gonna be like, she's cheating on me.
Yeah, that's right. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
That's just the way dudes are.
I know. Well, yeah, I know that. That's why they're fucking stupid. I'm just saying that's stupid. No, that's really stupid.
Now some dudes can kind of overcome that, but then they're like fucking. Well, what am I now? I'm a simp. Fucking, you know what I mean?
Because that would be ridiculous.
What?
Like, look at
I'm
you.
getting cucked out by this other dude. Fuck that. I'm pulling. I mean,
we were talking about this shit the other day, and you were like, if you had your druthers, you would have a harem.
Most men would.
Well, that's what I mean. You probably would.
It's not a
But it's like
thing.
when I said...
At the superficial level for a man, it doesn't seem to be
when I said...
We're not really
it's
looking
like,
at
oh, well, can I have a harem of men too? You were like, oh, well, I'd have to approve of that. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Oh, well, suddenly I have to have permission.
Well, here's the thing.
You don't have to have permission, but I do. That's fucked up.
Here's the thing. This is all theoretical, notional
shit. Like I said,
shit.
I don't want a harem of men. It sounds like too much work. But the fact that y'all think y'all can have it, but we can't, is like hilarious to me.
First of all, this is all theoretical, notional shit.
It's hilarious.
Okay? It's all notional shit. It's just theoretical.
Y'all are ridiculous.
I don't have a harem. Okay, I'm just.
You would like to have one, but you do not.
I think most men would, but then you try to think about what the ramifications and the difficulties involved. You know what I mean? It's just like you're talking about. There's gonna be a bunch of difficulties. So it's not very realistic. It's not realistic.
Well, obviously, that's why most women wouldn't want them, because it just sounds like a fucking headache.
There's something about men where I think that's kind of programmed into a lot of guys. They're like, well, yeah. If I love women, I can love a whole bunch of them.
Right.
It's not, and it's because I guess we inherited a survival instincts and reproductive instincts of like spreading seed. It's like another way of making sure. In other words, some of my ancestors didn't have the thinking of mating with a one woman. They were just fucking all women, trying as many as that they could.
Just use that as an excuse.
No, I'm just saying. I think it has to do with like epigenetics.
Sure.
So there's two different strategies. There's like a fast life strategy and like a slow life strategy. The fast life strategy is just to get as many women pregnant as possible. The slow life strategy would be to like choose one and fucking support her and have a family of multiple kids. They both kind of do the same thing. But it's probably back in real primitive fucking situations, probably more of an advantageous to just run around and get as many women pregnant as possible.
Well, it's
and
you don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do anything. You just and then those
other than like you fuck a chick for a couple seconds
you
and then you run away and fuck another one. You don't have to do anything.
Right,
actually.
and you know if half of them die because you're not supporting them, it doesn't really matter because you made 30 of them, so that's still 15. 15 of them survived. So it's probably what was happening in prehistoric ages, to where guys can run both programs. I think that's what it is. Guys can do either. Women can't, because to have a child's a lot of biological resources. It's a lot of problem.
Well, it
a lot of work. You got to grow a kid,
forever.
And this and that, and then you got to take care of the kid. It's just that our male ancestors didn't have those problems. Their problem was as well, how many women can I get pregnant? That's the problem. Not how many children
James
can I
live
raise.
life on easy mode if you're into video games. It's easy mode.
No,
it is.
No, I don't think so, because if you actually look at the numbers, dudes in general didn't live as long and fucking were killed.
They did stupid shit.
Well, stupid shit happens in nature. It's just stupid shit.
Yeah, I'm just saying. They do stupid shit.
Here's
they
the
take
thing,
stupid
here's
chances.
the thing that's very frustrating for all men to hear. Women think that to be a man, it's fucking great. It's just so easy. No,
well, it's easier. We're just saying it's easier.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
The average woman is pretty valued by society. She has a lot of friends. She's fucking worth something. The average dude is fucking worthless. He's a fucking drone. He comes and goes and gets killed and gets sent off to war and dies and nobody gives a shit. The average dude fucking is a drone. Okay? The average woman sees the average dude as a drone. The man's life is a lot harder because you're fucking disposable. Very disposable. Women are like less disposable because they can have children. You know, yeah. So no, dudes are the guys that you put down inside sewers to fucking clean walls inside sewers. They're the dudes that you go to fucking you go and send them to another country to go kill some other dudes who are just like them, so you can have your sex island. Dudes are very expendable. Average ones. The only ones that aren't expendable are the ones that women are looking at. That top 10%.
Well, average people are expendable.
Yeah, but even the average women is more precious than the average dude. They just are. It's a women and children first mentality, even with men. Okay? Women think that men have it made because women only see and only look at the top fucking percentile of the men, because that's who they want to fucking mate with. Rich dudes who look good, who have all these women, and life is fucking supposedly easy for them. That's only the very top of these fucking dudes. The dudes that have power. The average dude has no power. He's a drone.
Yeah, but the average woman has no power either. I don't have any power.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
You have a lot. You could manipulate your way through a bunch of dudes and get a bunch of shit. You're good looking enough to do it. You just didn't do it. It's not in you. I know you.
Well, I don't do that kind of crap.
Yeah, you don't do that kind of shit. But a lot of women do. That's what a lot of women they're just about that. You know? That's what.
So it's like I said, I don't have any power.
You have it. You're just not using it.
Because I don't do that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
To gain power and wealth, you must be evil. That's why all.
But I'm not evil.
That's why all powerful people.
And I don't want to be
evil.
I don't aspire to that. I know you might, but
just
I don't.
being realistic.
I don't.
Powerful people who are powerful and successful and rich are evil. They got that.
Well, yeah, I know that.
They got that
I'm just
by
saying.
competing against other people and destroying competition. All right, and just fucking, they're very cutthroat. All right?
Sorry, I just can't do that.
Yeah,
I just can't do it. I'm just not that kind of person.
Right. Well, the women that are in that same game are equally as ruthless. You know, it's a different strategy that they're using.
Well, those people are like not anything like me, so I'm not really like worried about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't project. Don't project.
I'm not projecting.
Well, just because you're a good person, that doesn't mean other people are good people.
Well, just because you're an evil person doesn't mean everyone's an evil person.
I didn't say that.
On
I'm
the
talking about
side,
the people that I'm talking about.
No, I'm just saying, if you're accusing me of projection, then you also project.
Jen used to, before me and Jen were going out, she'd be trying to protect me against evil women. When I knew they were evil, they were better than the ones I was having before, because I'm just used to women being that way. Yeah, I knew they're evil, but that was part of the game.
Well, he didn't believe me that I was actually a good person, I feel like.
Well, it didn't matter. Because I was going to mess with that one. Yeah. It was just nothing. It was nothing that was out of the ordinary, and it was nothing that was...
This is why women find dudes super frustrating. They're just frustrating as fuck.
I was like,
They really are.
yeah, I wasn't taking it, but even you would say that I wasn't taking that seriously. You know, I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah, but it didn't stop me from doing it because I didn't take any of it seriously. I was like, this is going to be fun.
Well, I'm sorry I tried to help you then.
No, you did. Listen to her. Listen. No, I'm just saying.
Shouldn't have bothered.
Did you earn points with me for that? Yeah, you did kind of earn some points.
Well, I shouldn't have bothered trying to help you, like I said. Sorry I care about you.
It didn't save me because I did it anyway.
That's what I mean.
I did it anyway. And it went right on. But yeah, but no.
It went exactly
you protesting, going, "Don't do this. That chick's fucking terrible." And I was like, "Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well. But that was just the way it was. You know, I didn't care.
And you're really not any better nowadays, which
What's
is
that?
why I still don't ever trust you ever.
What are you talking about?
Because you're still like that. You're
Nah,
still like that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you kind of are. Like I said, I try to help you, but why bother, really?
You're fucking hilarious.
Because you're just like, nah, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to fuck whatever.
You listen to her. Listen to her. That's not true.
Whatever.
Look, this bitch, I have never fucking cheated on you.
I know you.
Never. All right. Fucking, we're married now, so, no, I ain't going nowhere. Don't worry about it. That was back then, too.
That's true.
That was a long time ago.
That's true. But like I said, you have to think how I was thinking back then. I'm like, what the fuck am I even wasting my time, like, caring about this motherfucker? Because it's like, he's just kind of like, whatever, I'm just going to fuck her anyway. You were just like that. And I was just kind of like, okay.
I had nothing to lose.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So I was just like, all right, why the fuck should I care? And that's why I started going out with that other dude.
That's all right.
I'm like, well, I'm just going to bang
Me and you weren't a thing.
I'm just going to bang this other dude then. Because
me
it's
and
just
you,
like,
this...
And honestly, I kind of wish that that I kind of got with that other dude.
Oh!
He was like a lot nicer than you.
Oh! Listen to her. Listen how she does shit. Okay. All right.
He was a lot nicer than you.
Yeah, where is he?
I don't know. I just talked to him a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Actually.
All right.
But...
Yeah, is he married?
No.
So he's available.
Oh, I don't know about that.
So he's available.
I don't know.
So you're gonna get you a new boyfriend? Get you a new husband?
No. I'm just saying.
Okay.
That was a long time ago. That was like 2011.
It does sound these women, man.
I'm just saying.
Trying to make me jealous.
He was a lot nicer.
She gets jealous. She's trying to make me jealous. I know your game.
You were kind of a jerk about that.
Of course.
Back then.
Of course.
Yeah, you were a jerk.
I didn't care.
You're still kind of a jerk, but you were like
you
were more of a jerk back then.
I'm just saying I don't apologize for how I was back then because it mid perfect sense.
Yeah,
it made perfect sense with my
too.
fucking everything that I thought in the background and everything that it made perfect sense to me. It did. I gave a shit. I gave a fuck, man.
Yeah, I know you didn't. I know you didn't care.
I didn't care. But we knew each other, but we weren't that good of friends back then. No, we'd only known each other a couple months.
Okay.
Maybe a year. Maybe.
Yeah, it had been a while.
It had been that much?
Yeah.
Okay.
Danny Rowling said, someone should remake the film The Stepford Wives. Newsflash, they did. What's-her-face was in it. Nicole Kidman was in it, and it was awful. But maybe they should remake it again. With a twist like the family that moves in next door is a robotic family test its parent, the government. That's a good idea. The remake... What were they thinking with that? I think I saw it in the theater, and they decided to make it into like a black comedy. And... I mean, the original was kind of a black comedy, sort of, in the way that Rosemary's Baby is a black comedy, which it kind of is, but not really. And
Rosemary Baby was not a black comedy.
It is. Well, the book. If you read the book, it's a lot more apparent.
Okay. In the movie,
it's a black comedy, but it's very, very, very subtle.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it's much funnier if you're a Catholic. There's a lot more of that in there, but Stepford Wives, same thing. Like, the book was actually, like, much funnier than the movie was. The movie was kind of funny. But then they remade it, and then they made it almost like a more overt comedy, and I was, like, not about it. Not about it. And I know it's, like, really hard to market black comedy, or something like the original Stepford Wives from the 70s, which was a horror movie, but it was also, like, kind of funny, but it was... and that's not an easy sell, because I think that like a lot of people are either like, well, we want it to be funny or we want it to be like overtly horror, and it wasn't either one of those things. So I don't know, but I don't know what they were thinking with the remake. I really did not like it. I might rewatch it at some point because I was like, maybe I was just in a bad mood when I saw it, but I really did not like it at all. Like the remake, the Nicole Kidman one. And I don't even remember when that came out. 2000, mid 2000s? I don't remember when that was.
This isn't gonna work.
What are you trying to do?
I need power. Oh, I need some over here.
What are you trying to plug in?
Because this shit's gonna die if I don't plug it in.
Oh, your
Yeah.
what you call it? Your tablet.
Yeah.
We're talking about Demon Seed. We did a review of that a long time ago.
Yeah, I love that movie.
That's a good movie, actually.
It's a Crichton flick.
Yeah, I like that.
I got it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, we reviewed it like a while back. Camp Guy said scary for me was Phantasm. I love the original Phantasm. Actually, all the Phantasm movies are good. All 5 of them.
Yeah.
I think there's 5, right? Yeah. I saw the second one in the theater. I didn't see the first one in the theater because I was a little too young. But I saw the second one, yeah.
What you doing, Pokey?
Hi, Pokey. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't mean to be a butthole or anything like that. I'm just saying. All the shit we were talking about before.
What were we talking about?
He forgot in the 2 seconds that he walked into the other room.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I find dudes very...
Oh, talking about that, yeah.
I find dudes very frustrating. Dudes are very frustrating.
Don't worry about it.
In general. You know what I mean? And I get like more impatient as I get older. And I didn't really have a lot of patience to start with because I'm, so it's just kind of like when you get to that point, it's just having to deal with it. It's just it's hard. It's hard.
It's hard dealing with me.
It is hard. Well, it's hard dealing with dudes in general. They're just like they don't make any sense, and it's just
make perfect sense.
They don't though. And it's like, and the funny thing about it is that they think they're the ones that make sense, and that we're the ones that don't make sense. Because dudes think of themselves as the default. That's why. They think of themselves as the default, so everything else is like a deviation. Yeah. So like the way women think is a deviation, apparently.
I don't really think so.
Even though.
That's not how I ever thought of it.
I mean, even though women are actually the default sex. You know that, right? The default gender. The default gender.
Yeah.
All little fetuses are female.
Yeah. Men are like the improved option. They're like, we're gonna.
I don't agree. I do not agree.
See, this is how I go. I can spin this shit. I can spin it just as much as she can spin
I do not agree.
I ain't worried about it.
I do not agree.
Just the
You're the simplified version.
No. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, he doesn't care about that. Tammy says, "Preach, Jenny."
It's just women talking.
Yeah, we don't matter. We don't matter.
No,
we're just like cars. We're just like cars or objects.
They're talking.
A dude would want a whole garage full of women, just like he would have a whole garage full of cars, because we're just objects.
That's only one aspect. That's only one aspect.
Thank you, Jeffy Art.
What's that? Okay.
Thank you. Have you guys ever done an episode about the secret societies or the Dead Sea Scrolls? I don't think we have, actually. We've done like a couple of secret society shows, but I don't think we've done one about the Dead Sea Scrolls. But that's a good idea, actually.
Dead Sea Scrolls is actually kind of boring.
No, it's not. I can almost swear you both have at some point.
Yeah,
I should write that down though, because I kind of feel like that might be something we want to. Well, I could make a show out of that.
They're from that. Look, those are not from the Bible. They're from that time, but they're kind of like, and they may be from the same universe. Like it's like the MCU, like that. But they're just. The more of them that they translate, they're not really all that big of a deal. It's just more Gnostic writings kind of deal from that. But I don't know. Some people, I guess, they don't have much to do with the Bible.
But like I said, it might be kind of an interesting show, though. Like, kind of delving into what's in there. Just saying.
Yeah, they're just similar writings.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that. There was a whole industry of making fucking holy writings. I mean, it was like an industry. Didn't mean that they were holy. Just that that's kind of like a genre of literature that they were doing back then.
Yeah. Victor says, "Are y'all gonna do a spooky story episode like y'all did a while back?" Yeah, because our next episode would probably be like the Halloween special. I want to resubmit my story. You can. Like, I don't know what the next subject is gonna be. I put up some kind of like, we've kind of run out of like Halloween-y topics, but I did kind of put some up for the next poll. So, but if you want to submit a story, I can absolutely like read them and we can discuss them on the next show because, like I said, it'll be pre-Halloween. Because I think we're gonna do that show, and then the next show will be after Halloween. So I guess the next show would be like the Halloween show. But yeah, I was gonna say something or answer one of these, but yeah, Demon Scene. Oh, 2004 was the. Oh my God, that was like longer ago than I thought. I don't know. I just didn't like it. Was it Matthew Broderick was in that too, right? I kind of feel like Nicole Kidman was in it and Matthew Broderick. And I kind of was excited to go see it because I really liked the novel and I really liked the original movie. And then when I saw it, I was just kind of like, what the fuck? What are they doing? I just didn't get it. But, you know, I'd be willing to give it another whirl. But I just remember really, really, really not liking it, you know?
What?
The Stepford Wives remake. I kind of felt like they missed the point of the novel and the original. I mean, that's not unusual, but I kind of feel like they missed the point of the novel and the original movie.
What was the point?
Well, I mean, the whole point was it was kind of like a black comedy or like a satire. Like, it's a horror movie, but it's also, like, satirical. And the weird thing about
They were just androids, weren't they?
Well, yeah, but the weird thing about it, and this is so strange, because I read some reviews of the Stepford Wives movie when it came out like, back in the 70s, the one with Catherine Ross. And some reviewers, who apparently are not all that bright, thought that the movie was making fun of the feminist movement. And I said, it's not making fun of the feminists. It's making fun of the dudes in the movie. It's making fun of the dudes. And it's satirizing the idea that that's all that dudes want, is they want their wives to be robots that will do whatever they want and look however they want. It's satirizing that idea. It's not satirizing the women. The women were the heroes or the sympathetic characters. At least that's how I saw it, and I thought that's how everyone else saw it as well. But
I didn't see it.
Apparently not.
I can't really comment. I didn't see it.
You saw that movie. We reviewed it a long time ago. And I read the novel as well. The novel is really good by Ira Levin, if you haven't read it. He also wrote Rosemary's Baby, like I said. Oh, and he also wrote A Kiss Before Dying, which is also really, really good. Yeah. They made a movie of that. I don't love the movie of that as much, but the novel is really good. But, yeah, I didn't really get why critics at the time in the 70s thought that was satirizing the quote-unquote women's movement. I was like, it wasn't satirizing that. It was satirizing the dudes' attitudes toward the women's movement is what it was satirizing.
Yeah. They
obviously. But
anything you do can be interpreted almost the opposite
way.
Okay,
that's the weird thing. Like, some critics got it, but I was just like, some critics read it, I'm like, did you see the same fucking movie, or were you even paying attention, or what?
People's brains work differently.
I guess not.
People's brains work differently.
I mean, it seemed pretty obvious.
You either see the chalice or you see the two faces looking at you. Neither one's real. There are two faces, but there's also a chalice. You know, but I guess they're both kind of real, depending on how you look at it. It's probably what it is. I think the whole thing's laughable because they're worried about sex bots, talking sex dolls that can work. That's coming. That's coming.
Probably.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is I kind of had the feeling that dudes will be disappointed with that.
Yeah, let's kind of get into that because this is one thing, and maybe, I don't know, I was going to say this is TMI, but Jesus Christ, there's no such thing on this show. Because we have considered for our Streammate show, I was just kind of like, maybe we should get, I mean, they're expensive, I can't afford it right now, but it's like, maybe we should get like a female, like a sex doll, because we could do stuff with that, like for the show.
Well, you wanted a male one too.
Yeah, but the weird thing about that is that they don't really make really good. I mean, maybe they do, but we couldn't find any. Like the male ones are just a weird torso that's smaller than a normal torso with like a big dick on it.
Now, some people are going like, "What the fuck, you guys talking about?" There's a whole genre of porn scenes with women with these fake dolls. Okay, sometimes male or female, but mostly male. And there's a fucking very simple reason why you're seeing that now. You don't have to get authorization. You don't.
Well, yeah, because that's not another person. Because if you've never done porn like we have.
You have to verify everybody's ID.
Wow, it's a pain in the ass. You really have to, like, everybody has to take pictures of themselves with their driver's license, and it takes, like, weeks to get authenticated and shit like that, like, to even show up on camera because they want to make really sure that nobody is underage. So it's a huge pain in the ass.
And the AI looks at all this shit.
And every single time we stream on StreamIt, every single time, every day, they have to take a picture of both of your faces, and they AI both of your faces and make sure that you're authorized before you can even go on.
Yeah,
every single time.
It knows what your voice sounds like. It knows everything. And if you move somebody into screenshot that is not a face that it recognizes, you can shut your screen down.
Yeah, they will turn you off.
I once thought about putting Spock back there, that fucking cut out of Spock. And oh shit, nope.
Yeah, they would probably, because it's like, oh, that's an unauthorized person.
We'll go, who the fuck is that? And they'll shut the stream down.
So we thought about, it's like, well, maybe we should bring in, like a sex doll of some kind.
Yeah.
So it's like, we thought about...
Faster.
Right, like, yeah, because it's not a person, so it's just kind of like, so you could do whatever you want with it.
They got some fantastic dolls out there.
And they have some that almost look like real people.
Yeah,
so
or better.
Better.
Some of those things that a human could never be shaped like that.
But the weird thing about it is, like, you know, the women ones, and I get it. Like, the audience, the market for the female sex dolls is going to be, like, larger than the ones for the male sex dolls. I get it. Yeah. But it's like, it seemed like the ones they were selling, because we were just like looking on Amazon and shit like that. And it's like, so the female sex dolls, they have these fantastic ones that like they're $800, $900, and they look like super, super realistic. Some of them had like heads you could change out.
The good ones are about $4,000 though.
In case, so like you could change out different heads and stuff. But the male ones, the only ones they had, they didn't even have like, they didn't have arms, they didn't have legs. It was just like a torso that was smaller than an actual person's torso and a big erect dick. That was all they had. Yeah. And I was just kind of like, really? That's it?
And girls were using those.
Right, but it's like
making videos with that shit.
Yeah, and I get it because it's just kind of like. But I was just like,
it's
why?
It's easier than a dildo, yeah.
Yeah, it's the thing about it though is I feel like the price point is too much because it's like, look, you could just have a dildo. I mean, it's essentially just a dildo with a miniature chest on it.
Right, and some guys might be saying, well, why don't you just use Tom? Because certain platforms don't allow. Like, for instance, StreamMate doesn't allow me to appear in video with Jen, even though we can stream together.
We can stream live.
But we can't. I can't appear
in
video.
But he can't be in the videos
because
that I saw.
There's some kind of legal stipulation about fucking who owns the channel. That's one issue. Another thing is that big part of the male market. There is a big part of the male market where the guy that's buying the product doesn't want to see any living man in frame because it's competition against him. So he wants to see just the girl. And he's going to imagine himself in the place of that fucking dummy. That's what's happening there. This is a mind fuck, man. Porn is a mind fuck.
It is, yeah.
It's not real. It's a product that you make. And you're playing on the fantasies of men, basically. Me being a man, I'm good at it because I know what they're looking for. Women in general don't have game. They don't know. They don't really know what guys are thinking.
Well, we don't usually watch that anyway. It's not enjoyable to us. So in general, like some people do. I know, like some women do. I know, but it's just like a lot of it to me. I like some of the animated stuff, and I like gay porn, and I like lesbian porn and stuff. But it's just like a lot of straight porn. I just don't really like it. Yeah, it's not. Particularly interesting.
It's not targeted towards females.
No, obviously.
It's targeted towards a male client.
Obviously.
And everything on there is fucking shit that works on the male nervous system. And everything's visual. There's psychological shit going on in there, but that part of it is visual and words fuck dudes up pretty bad too. Depends on what you say and the timing. Untrained women aren't good at it. Trained women are. They're all in porn, or they're all fucking escorts, and they know more. But the thing is, those women are not doing really what they like. They're doing what dudes like.
Well, yeah, they're just trying to make money. They're not doing what they want to do.
Yeah, and their job is to get this dude off as soon as possible. And it's easier on them if they can get him off fast. Yeah. So they want to know the codes and the fucking strategies, how to fuck dudes up.
All the shit you gotta say.
And if you're mentally and emotionally dispassionate, where you're not really involved in this, you can see it analytically, like a guy can, it's a lot easier. A woman's going to be emotionally involved, which is actually a hindrance for her ability to do it. Like, if we're in a scene, live, cam to cam, and I got a male client in there who's enjoying the show, and I know he's bisexual, I'll fuck that dude's up. I know what he's thinking, and fucking I'll say shit to him. It's play acting, you know what I mean? But I'm an actor and I'm a professional about it, you know what I mean? Fucking, I want him to come back as a customer, so I'm gonna give him a good experience. So I'll say all kinds of crazy shit to him, you know what I mean? And fucking, and that motherfucker would just lose it, you know? And I don't even think a gay dude could do that, because he's emotionally invested in the situation, so he's not seeing it from a detached third person. I'm seeing it almost kind of like a machine. But I can relate, though, to what the guy's thinking and what he's seeing, because I'm looking on the screen and I'm seeing what's coming through the camera, what we're shooting. I can see him a little bit, but just a general outline. My vision isn't that good in the photo. The video that you're seeing, if you're going cam to cam on most of these platforms, is only like 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches.
It's pretty small.
It's not full screen. There's a bunch of data happening, so I can get a general idea of what he's doing, but it's not really detailed. You know, I had to put my glasses on, get up close, see what's going on. And I'm not really into that. I got other shit to do. I got to shoot the fucking video. I'm shooting at point of view. I'm fucking around with Jen and doing all this kind of shit. Jen's fucking putting on her act, and we're trying to get a good show. It's a show. We're doing it. Sometimes we fake it, but in general, we're doing what we're doing.
I mean, if we don't have to fake it, we don't.
Yeah.
But if we do have to fake it,
sometimes a dude.
Sometimes, like, a dude is like, hey, I'm going to pay, like, for, like, earlier today or yesterday.
Yeah.
We had somebody that wanted, like yesterday, somebody wanted a particular thing, and we weren't really ready for it, but we kind of faked it.
Yeah, we just faked everything. And he knew it was fake, but it was shot. I shot it in a way to where we had plausible deniability.
Yeah.
Because he's living in a world of fantasy. He's trying to get off. He doesn't need detail. He just needs emotion and visual shit real quick. And he needs to feel that he's involved in this and that he's in charge and he's telling us what to do. And what he's asking us to do is not possible in a time frame, because the whole thing only took 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that was the time frame.
Yeah. I can't come in 3.5 minutes. I can't go anal and do all this shit in fucking 300 minutes. You can't do that. It takes time. Okay, right. He doesn't have the money.
Right.
He's trying to pay $6.99 a minute. He wants to get it done in about 3-4 minutes. Because that motherfucker was pre-gaming when he fucking clicked on the button to go private. His shit was in hand. He's ready to go. He's in economy mode.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're gonna do a fucking half-hour fucking show. But you want that money.
Right.
You know. That could be $20. $20 is $20. You know, I'm not gay, but $20 is $20. No, I'm
going to make you that shirt, seriously.
So.
And I'm going to make you wear it to bike night.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Those dudes would fucking love that shit. Those dudes would love that shit.
Like,
they would think that shit was so funny.
Hey, you might make some money.
They should, no.
You might make some money.
No. They're going, that's right, that's $20.
Probably all of them will be like, yeah, I get it.
Like back in prison.
Yeah. Like I said, hey, money is money, all right? I don't begrudge anybody.
That shit was fucking funny.
I don't begrudge it. As long as you're not stealing it
from
people. I saw that shirt
and I just
like
started
that.
busting up and I showed it to Jim.
I know, he showed it. I'm like, oh my God.
That was on Temu.
It was on Temu.
That shirt was on Temu.
Like,
I ain't gay, but $20 is $20.
I know, that's so
fucking funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, like I said, hey, man, shit is tough all over, all right? It's like I said, as long as you're not just stealing money from people that need it and shit like that, it's like, any way you can make some money, it's like, I'm not judging. I'm just saying. But yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of a whole thing. So yeah, so I don't remember where I was going. Oh, I remember where I was going with it. So I said, so we were thinking about, it would probably be better, like, yeah, I might get one of those weird male torsos one of these days, but I was just like, so can we not have like a body with a head? This is kind of, or legs or something. This is freaking me out.
All that shit costs extra money.
I was like, yeah, it's kind of freaking me out. So Because I don't really like those sex bots that don't have heads. I don't know, it bothers me. But
the torso's only like $100.
That's like some Jeffrey Dahmer shit.
Yeah, that's why.
It's like I don't really want to fuck a headless person.
Yeah.
That's upsetting. So but they have a lot more variety in the female sex dolls. So I said we might do better with one of those.
The female dolls?
Yeah. Well, because we can both fuck with that.
Well, another thing is that you can get a good one in the fucking. There's a male audience for that too.
That's what I'm saying. So it might be actually more cost effective to get one of those. Well, yeah, because like I said, we could do more with that.
Yeah. Here's the thing. They got dudes. This is some weird shit, man. But I understand it now that I understand the porn system, the online porn system. They got dudes. Their whole thing is to buy these dolls and make videos with them.
Yeah.
But they're making money with it. And those same dudes also fucking do scenes with porn stars.
Right.
Because they're a porn star. And it's because there's a certain, it's a specialty niche.
Sure. But there's a niche for everything.
They got dudes that like those dolls better than girls.
Sure.
Yeah. And if you look at the dolls that they're looking at, no woman could look like that. They're just, no. It's too okay, one of the ones that they like is that the doll is extremely voluptuous, and it looks like an anime character out of anime. No human can look like the eyes and everything. It looks like an anime character, and it's got real glass eyes that look like real huge fake eyes. It's got all that. It's got teeth. It's got hair. You can change the hair. You can change the heads.
Yeah.
The heads come off, and
you can buy
different heads with different faces on them. Some of the heads are not human heads. They're elf heads with big long ears, or heads with horns. So there's kind of some modularity there. And some of them were never made to look human even to begin with. So it's kind of like a fantasy character.
Yeah.
If we got one, I'd probably go for a fantasy character. Like an elf. Female one.
That would probably be the way to go.
In some of those animated 3D porn.
Yeah.
Where they got the World of Warcraft.
We watch
animated 3D porn is fucking good.
I like
Jenny's
it.
thinking about making some.
Well, I want to learn how to do 3D modeling and the animation because I'm not real good at that. So it's like that's another thing that I was kind of thinking about doing because that looks like a lot of fun to make.
Right. But the reason why I was thinking, some of those World of Warcraft characters, they have some dolls that look like those World of Warcraft characters better actually. But what the draw with that is that there's problems with those dolls. If they look too much like humans, to me they look like a corpse. I think they're fucking creepy. I just think they're creepy.
The human ones do look kind of well, that's why I'm so creeped out by like the dude ones because it's like why don't they even have they don't have heads or legs or anything. It's just like a torso and a dick. That's so weird. That's why I'm like so weirded out by like the women ones that are just like an ass and like a torso that you can fuck, and I'm just like it doesn't have a head. That is like so upsetting
because it's cheaper and smaller. You can
I
put
know
it away.
I get it, but it's just like still weird. And it's just
weird.
like I don't really know.
It's like something fucking Ted Bundy would like.
That's what I mean. It's like I don't really think I could get into that because it's like this is like not.
No.
This is I'm fucking a headless person. This is really upsetting.
So what would probably be the best is to get one that's not human. It's like an elf, and it's fucking got big ears, and it might have fucking fangs and a little deer antler or something that can be changed up to where it's a fantasy creature.
Right.
It's not even.
Yeah, because Tom has always said if he could have a sex bot, it would not look like a real person.
No, hell no. It would look like some kind of fantasy creature, like some out of anime.
Because if they look like a real person, it's a little bit weird.
It's too creepy.
It's too creepy. I agree.
Because then you feel like you own a person, then you tell it to get in a box, and you tell it to turn it on. That's kind of like, to me, I don't want to humanize it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want it to
so you want it to like not look like a person.
No, I want it to look like a sex toy.
Right.
You know.
That you wouldn't feel bad about, like...
Well, you know what its job is.
Like putting it under the bed.
Yeah, get underneath the bed. Okay, turn off. All right.
You don't want it to be like Joy from Blade Runner 2049, where it's like a real person.
You don't want it to be a surrogate for a relationship.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Just see that second Blade Runner.
Yeah, where you'll see the issue.
Yeah, where he's in love with this fucking hologram That's
and
AI.
she's not even a sex doll. She's like an AI.
She's just a hologram.
Like a hologram.
Yeah. And she's very convincing. You're like you feel sorry for her, and she's like she's a real person. But at the end of towards the end of the movie, they hit you dead in the face that was one of millions. That's not a fucking.
They're all the same. It's just a program.
It's a program,
which is like really.
Yeah, and the hero of the show, who is a replicant, who's in love with the fucking hologram, he realizes that he's real and that replicants are real. Holograms and AI is not real. Those aren't people. So he realized he was in a delusion. So he chose to give his life to fucking help real people.
Yeah.
And to get the mission done. Because replicants were real. They were people.
Well, yeah.
They just skated around the damn laws to make it so they weren't slaves. But they were.
Yeah. But they were real people.
They were real
they may
people,
as well
right.
have been, yeah, sure.
So,
but if you're an AI, if you're just an app,
you're not real.
Then you're not a real person.
Yeah.
As much as you seem like a real person.
Right. It's
and I kind of feel like that's what the whole point of that movie was.
Yeah. So, but the whole Stepford Wife thing, this is getting back to what we were talking about. That the bodies, they have all that technology. They can make these things to look fucking super attractive.
Right.
Even if they don't look like humans. Even if they don't look real, they can still beat that. They can say, well, okay, we're going to make her blue and she fucking lights up. And she can shine light out of her eyes.
And she has double F titties.
Yeah, tits and ass that no mortal woman could ever compete with. And she's programmed, she will fuck a dude up and say all kinds of shit. And then she can go out and fucking do laundry and fucking vacuum the fucking house. While you're not doing that, she's fucking taking care of shit. She'll even cook you at dinner.
Right.
Okay, that's coming.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. A sex bot would be a pretty complicated fucking piece of equipment.
It would.
It would be expensive. But it wouldn't be that expensive. Eventually, everything gets cheaper. Well, if you're going to spend that much money on that thing, it better do more than just have sex. It's going to have to do all kinds of fucking chores and shit to make it more
it better
valuable.
clean your fucking house.
Right. I wouldn't have it mowing the lawn because it might get damaged.
Right.
You know what I mean? You want it it's expensive.
Right.
You want it in a decent. You don't need that thing to mow the lawn because you could have a lawnmower that's just a robot. You know what I mean? Right. And the robot lawnmower just mows the lawn. Nobody's on it. You know what I mean? But a sex bot, its body would be made for pleasure, basically. No human, and they would have males and females, and no human would be able to compete with them because they'd be made for that.
Right.
A good example was that Steven Spielberg movie. It kind of sucked.
What, AI?
AI.
Well, it was Steven Spielberg and Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, I want to see it again.
That was I think that was the last film that Stanley Kubrick worked on.
They had Jude Law in there playing a male sex bot.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Joe.
Right?
I think it was just Joe, but
Joe?
I can't remember. It's been a while. I saw it in the theater, and then I saw it another time since then, but it's been a while. And Haley Joel Osment was in that too.
Yeah. And Joe, no man would ever be able to compete with Joe in terms of getting women. One, he's not a real man, so her defenses are not as fucking raised by it. And he could come up and change his hair color depending on what she liked. From blonde to silver, he'd add highlights. And he'd go right into his fucking spiel and talk about how he felt about you and fucking shit like that. Be all emotional and talk this woman into fucking paying for his services. Now, I don't know where the money went. The money must have went to a service that owned him.
I imagine.
Because he didn't seem to need
Well,
money.
yeah, he was a robot.
He was a robot. Yeah. But, no, if guys like that existed... if you looked at the context of the movie, I think it's accurate. They'd be able to screw any woman. They couldn't take your woman, though. No. They were a robot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was limited in what he could do. He was only kind of, for one thing, entertaining.
I wouldn't pay for that shit. I mean, some women would, but I wouldn't.
Women were paying in the movie.
Well, I know that. And like I said, I'm not saying that women wouldn't pay for that. I'm just saying personally I would not pay for that.
Well, his whole thing was that this was discreet and clean.
Right.
That's what he's saying, you know what I mean? That he was self-cleaning. All right. And that no one could ever fucking match. No man could ever match. And fucking, it would only be between you two and shit. So, you know, it would ultra discretion and shit.
You know, the Dresden Dolls wrote a whole song about that called Coin Operated Boy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
How she was talking about how she wanted
Oh, that's who she was talking about him?
No, I don't think she was talking about him in particular, but she was saying that like how he's how much better than like a real one.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that it would be total service.
Yeah, like he would only do what you wanted him to, and he wouldn't do anything to piss you off.
Exactly.
Which, like I said, that's very appealing.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I don't know if it would be worth the money.
Well, I don't think he charged that much.
It still wouldn't be worth the money
because it wasn't his.
I don't know. It's just I don't know. Like for me, it's like not super high priority.
He wasn't a person, so he could.
Yeah, I know.
So he could give selfless service.
Right.
And he could put the client right in the fucking center of the attention. And he knew what to say to him. If you fucking watch the movie, it wasn't so much what he did as what he said to him. So
maybe we should do a review of that, because like I've actually been wanting to rewatch that, because like I said, I remember seeing it in the theater and being like, that was all right. And then I watched it again and I was like, that was all right. It got
better every time I saw it.
But I kind of feel like maybe it's improved with age.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. But I have been wanting to like revisit it.
Every time I saw it again, it felt a little bit better. It made a little bit more sense.
Yeah, maybe we should revisit it.
But it was his skill was just basically, like I said, it was what he said to him.
Well, that's what he was built for. Yeah. That was his purpose.
Right.
That was his purpose.
Well, that gets back to what I was saying before. Shit like that's coming.
Yeah.
But I don't think they will fully be able to replace men and women, because there's a lot of psychology involved in things, and you would know that that's a robot doing what it's supposed to do.
Right.
So it wouldn't quite have the same effect on you. In other words, the relationships would not be emotionally satisfying, I don't think.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it too, because I know a lot of people are kind of worried about like all the stuff happening with AI and everything like that, and they're just like, oh my god, we're gonna have like these realistic like sex bots and stuff, and then just like replace people. But I'm just kind of like, I don't know if that would necessarily happen. I kind of feel like the only situations where that would happen was people that were already predisposed to, fuck people, I'm just gonna have a sex bot, that would have just bought a sex doll before anyway, dudes, and just like treated them like a real person.
Dudes that couldn't get girlfriends.
Yeah, so it's like anybody that was, had a real girlfriend or wife or anything like that. I'm not saying they wouldn't interact with those like sometimes, but I'm just saying that I don't think they would find it the same experience. I could be wrong. I don't really know, but
I don't think it'd be the same experience.
I don't. Yeah.
And I think it would be kind of a sterilized experience, or you could probably have a bunch of mods to where eventually the thing fucking pisses you off because she's a bad person type of deal. You're like, fuck this.
Yeah, it's like, and then at that point it might as well be a real person, because it's like,
right.
Because it's like, I thought the whole point of having these was that wouldn't happen. You're supposed to just pleasure me, whatever I want to do.
What I think will happen is that they will end up being kind of in a situation where the perfection kind of works against it. It's not very authentic. And you don't buy into it because you know that it's a bot.
Right.
Okay, so it's probably a pleasurable experience, but not emotional, really.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like a simulation.
Yeah, which,
kind
like I said,
watching a porn flick, kind of.
Right. It's like sometimes you would want that.
Yeah.
Like I said, because we've talked about this before, because I was like, well, if they had, like, sex dolls or sex bots or something, like, would you want one? And he's like, oh, yeah. Yeah. But it's just kind of like, he's like, I don't want one that looks like a person, though, because I don't really want it to...
No, it'd be a sex toy.
Right. It would just be like having a dildo or something like that.
You'd be in bed fucking with you and say, hey, come on over here. I'm calling the robot in. And then the robot gets into bed. Let's have fun with this. And the robot might fucking be able to change gender.
Oh, now see, that would be interesting.
See,
now I'm kind of interested.
See what I'm talking about?
Right.
The robot becomes a Fuda.
Now I'm intrigued. See, now I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Here's the thing. Some of those dolls have replaceable genitalia that can be hermaphroditic.
Maybe we should invest in one of those then, because then we
could be a female or a male.
Well, then we'd have like a lot of options.
You're right, and more modularity.
I'm looking for like more options. What I'm saying.
The problem I've seen so far is that the one that have exchangeable genitalia, the good thing about it is that they're easier to clean.
Sure.
The bad thing about it is that there's a seam where it fucking plugs in and out. So if in the shot on the camera, it'll show. It'll show. Yeah. But I had to look more into it. and see what's.
But that might be something to look into, though, because
the thing is you're talking about that doll, which I'm open to getting one, and it's about $4,000.
They're a lot of money.
But I have credit
for a good one.
I have credit on Amazon for that.
Well, like I said, it would be
the monthly payment. I think it was about $60 a month.
That's still kind of a lot. But I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It's
we're getting money.
Oh, thank you, Victor.
Thank
Tom's
you.
Pegging Sex Doll Fund.
Look at this shit. Fuck.
Well, I was
These
kind of
bitches are coming.
Well, like I said, because we've discussed, for the Streammate show, we've discussed it's like, well, maybe down the line when we could afford it, like we can't right now because we're not making that much money on it. But it's like, because Tom's like, well, you should probably bring in another girl because a lot of people like watching two girls make out. And
already
had
some shit lined up with my ex.
Yeah, and she has expressed interest.
Yeah.
And like, well, and it's not weird because it's like she's my friend too, so it's not, and I love her, so it's not weird. So
she's cool.
So we might get into that, but I was just like, well, that's kind of a whole kettle of worms. Like we know her, so that's not weird, but it's just kind of like you have to get her approved and blah blah blah.
There's a lot of paperwork that has.
There's a lot of paperwork that has to be done. Like if you want somebody else on camera,
is that you have to pay them. They're a performer.
That too.
They're a paid performer.
So we were talking. I was like, well, if they had a good sex doll that was like modular, that you could like change out heads or like change out genitalia or something like that, like maybe we should get one of those because it's like that would be something that we could do different shit with. And we wouldn't have to get like all this permission. We wouldn't have to pay them. We wouldn't have to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'd want to get it roughly Jenny's size so it could wear her clothes.
See, that would that would be another thing. Like we could dress it in different, like we could put wigs on her, shit like that.
Well, actually, I think the heads have the hair that you want.
That's true.
I think it's all installed, but a head is about $100, $100-something for a decent head. I think sometimes eyes can be popped out of one and put in another one. So the eyes, but I had to look at what it is that's actually out
because
there.
Think of all the options. I mean, and we have a lot of options as a couple that a lot of the single girls that are on there don't have.
Yeah.
So I was like, if we had one of those, then we would have that would open up even more
of a pull.
Shit.
And you see if it was not human looking, it'd be even a greater pull.
Yeah.
Because
I think
we could beat the way a human looks.
Right.
Like some of those fucking things where it looks like an anime elf or a fucking fantasy creature. It's got fucking deer antlers on it and it's fucking impossible proportions and shit. Dudes will fucking pay to just see Jen do a lesbo scene with that. Fucking grabbing his titties and shit. And fucking...
That's what I mean. Like we could do that kind of stuff. We could do threesomes with it. We could all do all kind of stuff.
I've seen scenes where girls were doing fake lesbian acts with the
right.
It was sexy because the girl was fucking like you can't. You know it's fake, but Jen gets paid just by fucking stroking a dildo on a camera.
Yeah, people will tip me just for that.
They'll pay just for that.
And they know that's not real.
They know that's not real. Yeah, she'll be fucking rubbing that shit like that in the camera like that. Cha-ching! Cha-ching! Dude, give out $20, because he's fucking loving it. Because he's imagining that that's him. Everything is fantasy. Everything's fantasy in that business. And that is kind of a kinky thing. A damn weird-ass fucking sex doll.
That's what I mean. Like I said, there's so many possibilities.
That looks like a fucking something out of a video game.
Danny Rowling said strap-on scene. See, exactly. Like I could even get a strap-on. Like
she was talking about that.
That's what I said. Like, well, I said, there was a lot of options that we could do with it. Like you could fuck it, I could fuck it. We could have like lesbian scenes. You could have straight scenes. We could have threesomes. We could have all kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and a good one's about $4,000.
But like I said, that's a lot of money. But
they offered me a line of credit.
True.
Right there on Amazon had them.
We'll have to look through there and like pick what is the best one. We have to pick one that's about the same size as me, like you said, because I have a lot of clothes that we could put on it.
Yeah.
That would, so it has to have the same size as me.
Or similar.
Or similar, so it would so the clothes would fit.
That would help, because you could put shoes on them, everything.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, you put shoes on them, put everything on them.
Because I got lots of shoes they could put on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
you dress them up different every time. That way they're not always the same.
Yeah. But it might, like I said, it might be a good thing to look into because, like I said, we're not averse to bringing in another human girl.
Yeah.
Like a human person.
It's just the money.
But
there was another girl who was also a content creator that was interested, but she never really got back.
That's what I mean. We have possibilities.
Yeah.
Like, because we've kind of like just generally said about it, but...
Oh, guess what?
What?
You know what Bill said?
What did he say?
Remember that old lady, the fucking wicked old witch, fucking Sally D'Angelo?
Yeah.
Okay. The woman that she's always working with.
Uh-huh.
The other one that's a little bit younger than her, in her 50s, right?
Was this the hot tub thing
The
with
hot
the
tub.
dude? Yeah. I remember.
The other one that was in the hot tub with her, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Amy did a scene with her a couple days ago.
No way!
Yeah, and she's...
Oh my God,
he
they're
said
kinda
she's
famous.
a cool, old, hippie kind of stoner
Yeah.
girl. And I said, well, what was her fee? And she goes, nothing. She just collaborates.
Wow!
Yeah, you work on her video, and she works in your video. And she's here in Orlando.
Wow, that's nice of her.
And I said, would she work with Jenny? He goes, oh hell yeah, she'll work with any
All right.
hot woman. But she's just an old hippie chick, and she'll
That's
fucking
all right.
smoke weed and do scenes. She's about 60.
I mean,
she looks good though.
She seems nice.
She's cute. Yeah, she's about 60.
We watched some porn of her. Her and her friend
Yeah,
were fucking this dude in a
Yeah.
hot tub. Was it a hot tub or just like a
bathtub.
like a tub,
No, it
like
was
a
just
bathtub?
it was a big bathtub. Yeah,
Like a big bathtub.
Yeah, Sally was like 70 something.
They were having a really good time.
Sally's like 70 something with these huge implants.
Right.
She looks like a wicked witch, but she's kind of hot in a way. Looks like a.
She is kind of it's
looks like an
she's,
evil witch.
She's like weirdly hot.
Yeah, skinny, fucking bony looking with big tits, and she's like, yeah, you would get it. She's kind of wicked and dominant, and she's with one that's a little bit younger than her, and that's the girl we're talking about. They were screwing this fucking skinny black dude who was about 20.
That's right. Yeah.
And yeah, that motherfucker was huge.
And he's just kind of like, all right.
Huge fucking dog.
These two old ladies were like
yeah,
going
and
to
he's like, that's right, that's right.
It was kind of awesome.
Yeah, and they're kind of doing femdom a little bit with it.
Yeah.
Fucking using him up.
Which I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, they're kind of bossing him around a little bit. He's like, okay, all right.
He's like, all right, I'm dealing
You
with
sit
it.
right there.
He's like, all I got to do is lay in the tub. I don't
he's
really
like,
have to do much of
yeah.
anything.
I'm going to lay here and be 13 inches.
I'm just gonna
that
lay.
motherfucker was big, man.
Yeah, I'm just gonna lay here with my erection
by 13,
and you
I'm
girls
good.
just
Yeah.
go to town.
Yeah.
Mr. 88 says, I think to most people, a guy, his ex, and his current wife doing threesome internet porn is outside normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I imagine it is. We don't really think about it that way.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, and they're hot too. They're all hot. I like them both. You know, I don't have a relationship with her anymore, but
I mean, yeah, and like I said,
she's
that
just
was
a friend of mine.
a long time ago.
A long time ago, yeah.
And you only dated her for
About a couple months.
for just a couple of
months. Yeah.
And she's married now.
She's married now. She's married to a dude I introduced him to. A friend of mine.
Yeah, he introduced
I
them
introduced
like
him.
after they broke up.
Yeah.
And then they got married.
We didn't really broke up. We just kind of stopped seeing each other.
Right.
It wasn't a highly emotional. Well, she put it real well last time I saw her. She goes, you know, that was hard times back when me and you met. We were in a weird place. I said, yeah, everybody.
Yeah. She's very aware of like the situation.
Yeah.
Because we saw her not too
Right.
long ago. We saw both of them
Yeah.
not too long ago.
And she was just like fucking. We were there for each other at hard times, but fucking this shit didn't work out between me and you. It didn't. But she was like, it didn't have anything to do with us though. It was just fucking the world. And I was like, yeah.
She really I will tell you that every time I see her, she tells me every time, she's like, I'm so happy that Tom is with you, and it's just like, please take care of him, Jenny. Please take care of him. She always says that.
Yeah.
She always says that.
Yeah.
She is always like super concerned about your welfare.
Yeah. I'm hooked up with a lady after my first divorce, basically. That was part of it. Yeah. And fucking I was still trying to get back in the game, you know.
Yeah.
And she's
a lovely person.
She had just
really
lost
like
her
her
boyfriend.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and that's a whole can of worms. We don't want to get into that. Because I know what went on with that, too. Because I know all the people involved.
Yeah. Because the boyfriend left her for her best friend. So she was fucking...
And she didn't like it. She's like, oh my God, that would never happen. Except
I told her that's what it was.
Yeah, he knew that was... But he didn't really know.
I didn't know those people.
But he was just kind of like...
And I was like...
I think this is what's going on, and that's what was going on.
Yeah, and I said... And I was like, he was with you for that long? And he's gone. Yeah, and fucking he's gone. And I said, he left you for somebody you know. And he goes, no. He left you for a girl you know. And he goes, no, I only know one person, my best friend. And
don't say it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. And I go, that's who he left you for. And he goes, no.
No, he would never.
He would never do that.
But that's exactly.
A week later, that's exactly what was
going on.
Yeah.
He was fucking her best friend.
Yeah. And she wasn't right, man. So and we were already dating by that time. But it was just like dating and we lived together. It was weird. Okay. But it wasn't really kind of like a normal relationship. It was more like friends, kind of watching out for each other. But we didn't really have any kind of like driving fucking desire to be with each other. It was weird. It's like we kind of had to be with each other because nobody else wanted us, type of deal. That's kind of how it felt. And
yeah, I get it.
Neither one of us were into it. But we became friends.
Yeah.
And then
and they're still friends now. Like I said, we're friends with both her and her husband.
Yeah. So I just went back and hit the dating scene and shit. And that's about the time I hooked up with that Disney princess girl.
Yeah.
Well, turns out one of my buddies got pissed off at me for going out with her. It turns out he was dating her.
Yeah.
And she dumped him for me. Well, Tony. I said, well, I'll tell you what. I didn't know she was dating you. I'm gonna hook you up though. I'm gonna introduce you to another girl. And he's like, no, yeah. He said, yeah. And I introduced
Tom
you to her later.
bad.
Yeah. So I'm gonna introduce you to my ex-girlfriend later. And she was there. Well, they were never separated since. The day they met, that was it. They've been together for fucking.
They've been together
years,
longer than we have.
Years.
Longer than we have.
Yeah, they got married.
They're married now too.
Yeah. Now they make porn.
And they are in let's call it an open relationship.
Yeah, they're swingers.
They're swingers.
Yeah.
So they've sent us video.
Yeah, I got pictures of proof.
Where
of them and all their fucking girls. And
they
shit.
just go and fuck whoever.
Yeah, in the parking lots and film it and fucking in parking lots outside the fucking swingers clubs and shit.
Now see, Bryce says, no one here is normal. My girl lets me fuck other girls and guys so long as she can.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, like I said, as long as everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, you just don't want to be sneaky.
Right. The only thing I don't like doing shit behind somebody's back. That's fucked up. But if everybody has a discussion and everybody is on the same page, where everybody is present and everybody is okay with it, then it's fine. But I don't really like this whole, hey, I'm going to the bar and then you're fucking some other chick or some other dude or something like that. That's fucked up. Don't do that. But it's just, what?
When me and Jen were friends hanging out, she didn't really know all the details about me, and then we kind of became a thing, and then over time, I kind of let her into more and more about my fucking history and my background. I was fucking polyamorous. I was in threesomes since high school. So that's kind of like my normal state. I didn't really take what you would call monogamy. I didn't really see that as the norm. The norm was to like be in a group of friends and you're all fucking each other. You know, it was heterosexual, but sometimes it'd be me and my best friend just fucking throwing down on some chick, you know, and we're like, yeah, you know, and it's just kind of normal for us. Jen didn't grow up that way, but I never fucking had to sneak around because I never really thought I had to. If I wanted to do something, I'd just do it. I just didn't really have a drive to do it. Because when me and Jen started hanging out, I was a little bit older. And so I was a little more aware of other people's feelings, you know. So I was like, well, if I do that, then she's going to get mad. You know what I mean? So, and not just you, just other girls I'd be dating too. Well, if I do this over here, then she'll get mad.
Right.
You know, because I know how regular people are.
Well, it's a whole, you're kind of opening up a whole can of worms.
I know how regular
you're
people
getting everyone's emotions involved.
Yeah, and Jenna fucking like threatened me going, well, then I'll just get another guy. And I'm like, well, who is it? So it's not really the same threat to me. Like, well, if I like him, then yeah, okay, we'll both fuck the shit out of him. I'll spit roast your ass, man. Fucking, because I'm not really. So it's not the same. You know what I mean? Because I didn't grow up that way. It was more like as long as I liked him. Not in terms of like sexually, just as long as I trusted him. I thought he was cool. You know, it was never really that. Because it was never anything that was planned. It was always just shit in the moment.
Right.
And we never really took any of it seriously. You know? Because there's a big difference between two people having sex and three.
Yeah.
If it's two, it's more personal.
Yeah.
If it's three, it's more like an entertainment.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, we're just having a party. Or
whatever. It's like we're having a party. Yeah. So it's not really...
And we have done
that. Like when we shoot porn, it's not the same.
Yeah, it's absolutely not.
Yeah, right. Well, threesomes are like that. It's not the same.
Yeah, and like I said, we've done a couple threesomes before, like in real life.
Yeah.
With not another dude, like another girl.
Yeah, it's not the same.
actually with 2 other girls, but one of the
Yeah.
girls was not participating.
Yeah.
She was just watching.
She wanted to, but she was scared.
Yeah, but
She was scared of the other girl because she thought that girl was so hot. Because that girl was a lesbian. The one that didn't want to participate was a lesbian.
right.
Cute little lesbian girl. You know who we're talking about.
Yeah,
If
but
you
like,
follow the show, yeah.
but yeah, so we've had that
she thought
happen.
Sonya was fucking drop dead, so she was like embarrassed.
We've had that happen a few times, but that was just kind of like, it wasn't planned.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, hey, we were all out at the club. We went
Yeah,
back to somebody's house, and we were just kind of like, shit happened.
Like, this shit's going down now.
Shit happened.
And I'm like, come on over here. I'm calling the lesbian. Come on over here, jumping in.
She's like, no.
So what are you scared of? Come
She's
on
like,
over here, man.
I'm just watching.
And I'm like, Sonya's right there, because she had a huge crush on Sonya. She wasn't mentally ready for it.
Yeah.
Of like, because it's public.
Yeah.
But it's not intimacy. It's more like a show.
Yeah, it's like I said, that's kind of the difference between like when we do shit on Streammate, because we've done stuff on Streammate where, dudes will come on like cam to cam, and they kind of want. We have one dude in particular who really likes to have like a threesome experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He likes to pretend that he's there.
Yeah.
Like that you and him.
Yeah.
Are
he's our best customer. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
He's like, when he was just there last night too.
Yeah.
Like, he's not there all the time,
No.
but like every time he comes there, like we're always happy to see him because he's super nice and he's like always on for a really long time.
He's a young guy in his early 30s. He's a fitness guy. He's fucking shredded. He looks great.
But his whole thing is he likes to play with couples, and he likes to, like, him and another dude, like, just shredding on like a chick.
Yeah.
So he really likes that. So he likes to like pretend that he's here, and it's like, so Tom's like encouraging him, and he's like saying encouraging stuff and stuff like that. So it's like a whole, but he's not here, you know what I mean? So it's kind of different.
Virtual.
It's
but
virtual.
he's acting it out.
Right.
He's acting it out. You can see on the camera.
Right.
He's fucking changing positions. And I was like, Red, get in the front. You get in. You get this in. I'm getting over here. And he's like, all right. And he'll change position like he's.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's fantasy.
Yeah, and like I said,
fantasy.
I'm not really bothered by that because,
fantasy.
like I said, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a cool dude, and we like talk to him on the screen, and because we can see him and stuff like that. But it's just like he's not here.
Yeah. He's not in the house with
He's
us.
not in the house or anything like that. So it's
we
just
all know
kinda,
him.
Yeah, like I don't
know him in real life. We just know him from this platform.
We just know him from there. So
Yeah.
it's just like it's not. I don't know. Like, I guess like initially before we started doing it, I thought it'd be weird, but it's not really. It's not really that.
You get
weird.
over it real fast.
You get over the weirdness
Because
like pretty quick.
It's
not weird at all.
I have real drama training, doing musicals and fucking leads and everything, singing. And my ex-girlfriend from that time is famous. Her name's Mary Lynn Rice Cub. She was like a star at 24. So, I had good drama training. She went on with it. I just didn't want to. I didn't like the world of acting. I didn't like the people. I thought they were fake. But I did like the skill, all right? It's acting. Yeah, you're doing the shit. But you're not doing it for you. You're doing it for the audience.
Yeah, you're performing.
Yeah, it's a performance.
Like, I'm not doing anything. Like I said, if I'm not doing anything that I think that if I was by myself, like trying to get myself off or something like that, like it's nothing I would be doing. It's no position I would be in or anything like that. It's just it's for the camera.
Yeah, it's for the camera and the observer.
Right.
And you have to put yourself, as a guy, I'm putting myself in the observer's position, you know what I mean? So, and I know that the client or the customer base is male. So I'm like, well, what would they be thinking right about now? What would I be looking for right now? Because the shit that I'm into overlaps with other guys. There's nothing really all that special about me. We're all doing the same thing, basically. Just different routines, There's different styles of it, and different style of video. Certain things that you're looking for. Like the shit that's going to be in an oral sex centered video is going to be very different than, say, like suction pumps. A suction pump video where you're just fucking pumping this shit out of some kind of genitalia under fucking suction. It fucking swells up. They're two very different genres, but what the observer is looking for, you got to know what it is.
Yeah.
You got to know what it is that they're looking for. And you really only know that if you fucking watch that porn.
Yeah.
And you try to go into that world of okay, I see why this is hot. Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, I bet you that does hurt. That hurts, but it feels good at the same time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see what it looks like. Okay, wow, all right, yeah. By God, man, she got big, man, sucking on it. It's just so you kind of know what the observer, his experience is like. And that, some of it translates to females. Females like that too, certain things. But in my experience, talking to females and shit, females like gay porn. or lesbian porn. They like that more.
Yeah, I do. And I like animated porn because, and even in animated porn, like when we watch a lot of animated porn, which I like because it's just kind of like, well, that's not real people, so it's not. I'm not worried about it. But even then, if we see some animated porn where like one of the female characters is like in a super like uncomfortable position, I'm like, oh my god, that poor girl. Like, she can't be having any fun. Right. And because that's what I think when I watch real straight porn. If they have, like, some woman, like, fucking upside down or, like that, I'm like, that woman cannot be having any fun because that is, like, super uncomfortable. Because I know, because I've been in that position.
Only the guy is putting himself in that position, imagining he could do
that's
that.
what I mean. But it's like, the guys are into it because they're like, man, that's so hot. But it's like, all
Picking
I can think when I watch it is, like, that poor woman.
Yeah, she's been upside down for 10 minutes.
It's like, she is probably, like, in so much pain
Her
right
head
now.
is fucking throbbing.
Right? It's like, she is not having any fun at all. So it's like, that's why a lot of women can't enjoy porn, because it's just kind of like we're watching that going, that poor woman. It's like, look at her.
I'm gonna have to amend that, though. Women can enjoy porn.
It depends on what kind it is.
What it is.
It depends on what kind it is.
Very male-oriented porn is targeted directly at the dude's fucking system, all right? And porn that's shot that way, the focus of attention's on the girl. Because that's what he's looking at when he's fucking doing his thing, okay? Women aren't going to be as interested in that.
No.
In gay porn, the focus is the dudes.
Yeah.
If you look at straight porn, they never really fucking focus on the dude's face or who this is, what he looks like, what does he look like from the back, what's his ass look like. That's not in the straight porn because those dudes viewing that shit aren't interested in that.
They don't want to see that.
So the women want to see the dudes. Well, in the straight porn, a lot of the dudes, their quality of that dude's not that high, really. He just has to be a stunt cock. He's got to be fucking get hard. His dick looks good on camera. He's tall enough to do certain things, or he's short enough to do some other things, depending on what actor it is. The high quality guys, if they're making big money in gay porn.
Well, like I said, I kind of feel like
they look a lot better.
Well, and the thing about women that watch porn, and like I said, I'm making a generalization here, but I feel like largely, if women are going to watch porn, they're more interested in the people's, whether they're men or women, they're more interested in like the people's reactions or their interactions with each other, like their facial expressions, or are they enjoying it? Like that's why I like a lot of kind of like lesbian porn or like scenes with little girl on girl, because it's just kind of like, and especially ones where you can tell that they're into it.
Yeah.
Because it's like I really like I really like that where they're like you can tell they're really into it, like they're not faking it. Yeah. Because I kind of feel like a lot of straight porn, the chicks are like, yeah, okay, let's hurry this up. You know what I mean? It's just they kind of look like that to me because they're in a super uncomfortable position or whatever. So it's just kind of like when the women are just doing it, they're just like messing around and they're like not worried about it and they look like they're enjoying themselves. That's like a lot hotter to me than a woman that's just like in this contorted kind of position and the dude's like just pounding away and they're just kind of like, okay, let's just you know, it's just kind of like that. With
the lesbian porn, straight or mostly straight women will like that because they can empathize with either one of those women. And like I said, like she said, there's more facial expressions and it's just more of a kind of a even if the audience was intended to be men. A lot of times,
well, you're looking more for like an emotional reaction or somebody that like you know, how do they feel about this?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you want some kind of human.
So women will look at that, and really, it's not just her. Man, all my ex-girlfriends watch lesbian porn.
Yeah, they honestly, if I'm gonna look at porn, I like lesbian porn or I like animated futa porn or gay porn. I'd never watch straight porn. Ever.
And then
I mean we do, like when we do the show, but I don't watch it on my own.
Yeah. It's just not oriented towards women.
Yeah, it's not interesting to me. Like the women always look like they're having a hard time and it's just like
they're working.
Yeah, it's just not hot to me.
And well a lot of stuff that guys like is also rough. And
that's what I mean. So it's like I don't enjoy watching women going like, oh, I'm gagging on a dick, or they're like crying, like I don't enjoy that.
Even though if you talk to those actresses, they're faking that shit.
Well, yeah, of course they are. I'm just saying I don't really enjoy. I don't find that hot watching that. Even if they're faking it or not.
Although some of them actually, like Belladonna, a lot of them like to be real roughed up because they're big into submission.
And like I said, I'm not saying that some women don't enjoy that, like they do, but I'm just saying I don't really like watching that because it just always looks really uncomfortable to me, and it's just like it's just not something you want on porn. It's not like arousing.
Because I've roughed her up, she loves it, but it's not something she'd like to see on porn probably.
No, I don't like watching porn doing that. Yeah, well, you can do it to me, but it's like I know you.
Yeah, and it's always
so it's not right.
Times there's a context to it.
Yeah,
I know when it's coming. I know when it was a good time.
Yeah, it's always like a context, and I know you're not really gonna like hurt me for real.
No, it's all games, playing mind games and shit.
Right.
And then they like gay porn with dudes because in general, if you look at gay porn, which I've done my research on that shit. Fucking, it's those dudes are fucking shredded.
Well, they're a lot better looking.
They're a lot better looking
than the dudes in straight porn generally.
Yeah. And it's because that's where the money is. That's where they gravitated. And I estimate that probably half those dudes are not really gay, or maybe just bi or something. I think some of them are. I mean, you can tell at least half of them are. And what was weird, although sometimes I'm like, because that one dude that I know that was doing that, I was thinking, how could I know he was on a lot of shit to do it? He was fucking on a shit ton of trend. He would take fucking Trimix, which is an injectable form of kind of like Viagra. You inject it right in your dick, and you're gonna have a hard on for fucking 6 hours, no matter you want it or not. All right, they'll put that.
Which
shit
might be good, might be bad, depending on the
situation. Your dick
situation.
up over time because you get a psychological dependency on it. To where if you don't have fucking Trimix, then you think that you're not going to pop a boner, which fucks up your fucking performance when you don't have it. Because now all of a sudden you're worried about it. I don't recommend Trimix. But I was thinking about it though, you know, fucking what he was doing and what he was talking about, and I was like, yeah, you take all this shit, but how could you like do that and not be gay? I'm thinking you got to be gay.
Nah. No, you don't.
I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, but that doesn't. I mean, you're not everybody.
I'm not everybody. I don't think I could do that, even with all that fucking chemical existence.
I mean, for money.
Yeah.
I don't know if they offered you a whole bunch of money, you might think.
I'm thinking those
it.
dudes are bi.
Maybe.
We fucking Victor. What do you think, man? Could a straight dude actually do that, or is that just? Dudes,
well, they do.
Or
I mean, that's
or are they just telling themselves that they're straight? I hadn't done it, so I can't put myself in the mindset. Because even that particular dude, he said some sideways shit sometimes. You know what I mean? Me and you could make a lot of money together. I was like,
he's trying to get Tom in gay for pay.
That was a long time ago, though.
Yeah,
that was back when I was on trend. And he was on trend at that time too.
And Tom was like, okay.
It's like dealing with a werewolf.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. And he goes, we can make a lot of money together. Me and you. It's not like it's intimacy. It's not like we had to kiss or anything. Just the way he said it, I was just like...
You gonna do some gay porn?
Oh, no. No, it's not like we had to kiss or anything.
Send me the videos.
Yeah, but he's talking about other shit. I'm like, no.
Bryce says, I research gay porn every day. But he says, Bryce says, I gotta agree, straight porn doesn't do it for me personally. The girls clearly aren't into it. Yeah, I mean, sometimes they are.
Sometimes they are, yeah.
And the straight porn that I tend to like has girls that look like they're really into it. But yeah, I think a lot of straight porn, like, the girls just look like... I mean, even if they are, it looks like they're not really into it. Or they're being, like, roughed up or abused or whatever. And it's just like, I'm not really into it.
It depends on who you're talking about.
Well, yeah, like I said.
It depends on who exactly you're talking about, what scene you're talking about. Like I said, a friend of mine's in that industry. His wife is basically he films all her shit and produces it and everything. And she does some wild shit, man. And he says she loves it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, some people do.
Yeah, he says she fucking loves it. She says she's just a natural nympho.
Yeah.
She'll do fucking 6-on-1 BBC gangbangs and shit. He's sitting there filming the whole fucking thing. All kinds of group sex and shit. Lots of lesbian stuff. Lots of interracial. His wife, he's white, she's white. His wife is famous for interracial IR porn. Even because it had to be her first studio scene was that, and it kind of caught on. She's real little. She's like 4'10". She's a little bitty, 4'11". So they hooked her up with like a fucking 6'5" black dude, you know. So it's a big black dude, little white girl. All right, and
that's a whole subject.
That's a whole fucking thing. Okay. So that was like her first scene where that kind of caught on. So she kept getting more and more kind of orders for that through other studios and shit. But she does other stuff too. It's just that's like one of her main fan bases was that black dudes buying it. But she loves it. According to him.
Well, like I said,
don't doubt him. I don't doubt it.
I don't doubt it either. Like I said, I'm not. Like I said, I'm not. I don't like to like generalize about stuff. It's just like, yeah, generally, women like this, that, and the other thing. But obviously, everyone's an individual. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean that other people can't like it. Yeah, some chicks might be totally into like doing gangbang porn and be like, yeah, whatever, no big. I'm not into it, but you know what I mean. If they want to do it, hey, more power to them. He
said the same thing we just said. Okay, he says it doesn't. It's just it's like a performance,
right?
Okay, she's doing it. She's having fun doing it. It's not an intimacy thing. It's not like having sex with, say, like your boyfriend or your husband. It's more like the thrill of doing that performance in front of the camera, and it's just. He said she likes doing it,
right?
You know, and then the money. There's a monetary reward.
Like I said, I get that.
So it's not quite the same situation. And all the fucking being roughed up and shit like that, it's just like pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Fucking dudes are pulling blows and fucking they overreact and to make it look, because it's all in kind of like scripted.
Yeah. So and like I said, we've done that like on the live stream. Like I said, I don't mind. I don't mind in that situation because, like I said, it's you and I know you and you're not really gonna hurt me. You're just gonna like look by. But I don't know if I would like to do that just in like regular with like randos.
Yeah. Well, those dudes aren't randos either.
Well, yeah, I know that, but it's just like
it's the same group of dudes they've worked with over and over. They know.
Yeah.
You know. So it's not. That's another thing. You look at it on a camera. You look at these people, little bitty white girl, red hair. You know, fucking 4 foot something, big old tall fucking black dude, fucking. You look like they don't even know each other. No, they know each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't look like there's any like there would be like it looks like an odd mix.
Right.
Because it's opposites, but actually like they know each other and like she knows his wife.
Right.
That type.
Well,
of shit.
they work together.
They all work.
The time,
Yeah. So that's
like
people can't realize that. Yeah, these performers, a lot of them are married, and you know. So,
yeah.
And they know the spouses and shit, and then it's like a whole scene of them. So it's not randos. It's just like people.
I don't know. It's still, like I said, I'm still kind of like.
No, I would. You don't want to do it.
No, I wouldn't want to do it.
No, not like that.
Like I said, because it's just kind of like, look, I'll do shit.
Yeah.
I don't mind like being like exhibitionist and shit like that. Like I don't mind doing that. Like as long as it's just like me and you. Yeah. But it's just like I don't really like.
Yeah, it's just too. You're going over the top. You see, here's the thing.
Yeah, and I'm not shitting on people that do like to do that, but it's
they're
just
in a totally different situation.
Yeah.
The people that are doing that are in a totally different situation.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's the weird thing. The couple I'm talking about, and it's I can say their name. It's fucking like I don't say the stage name. It's the husband of Amy Quinn. You can find her on Twitter. All right. Amy knows us, even though we've never talked to her. I've only talked to her husband. Okay. And we kind of fell in because we both do gear.
Yeah.
Okay. Shit, what was I going to say? What were we talking about before that? Shit.
About how it wasn't like the whole thing about just fucking random dudes and shit like that.
Shit, yeah, I forgot where I was going with it, though. I've been drinking. They're, it's kind of like people in the circus.
Yeah.
You know?
Which, I get it. It is kind of like a carnival.
Yeah. Oh, what I was saying with their situation was, they make all this video, right? But actually, when you look at the numbers, that's not where the money's coming from. The money's coming from all the live streaming stuff.
Yeah.
She fucking makes fucking almost $300 a day, doing 3 hours a day of streaming, and a lot of it is because she has fucking 60,000 followers on that platform. But that all came from the porn. The porn is kind of like an advertisement.
Yeah.
The porn makes money, but you need to make a lot of it to add up to do anything, and they've been doing it for a long time. So there's a lot of it out there. And it's just like us when we did the videos for 13 o'clock. Over time, man, there's so many shows that you've forgotten them. They're doing that with porn scenes.
Yeah.
that stuff stays out in cyberspace acting as like a fucking advertisement. And it all leads back to their Twitter. And on the Twitter, it eventually goes to a link tree that has everywhere where she's performing and her stream mate and her with OnlyFans. That's on there too.
Yeah.
And it all adds up, but the main bulk of it is stream mate. And that's kind of with porn, not with these porn stars, studio porn stars, like I say Angela White and fucking this is, you already know this, I'm just telling the listener. The porn, they get paid just once for every time they do the scene. They don't own the material after that. Yeah. Unless they own it and they did it themselves and they have it out there on OnlyFans or something. They own that. But the shit that went to the studio for porn, they don't own that. They don't make much money on it. They might get $1,000 on that one day. Maybe. Top girl probably would be about $1,000. That's really nothing compared to what they're used to, what they want to make. Most of those porn stars, their real money's fucking made fucking escorting. Escorting or sugaring, which is you have the sugar daddies. So, and you can find them. You can find all their escort stuff. That's really where they're just using the studio porn as an advertisement and a justification for hiking up their escorting fees.
Yeah.
Because what they really want is they want somebody to fly them out to a location for a couple days and spend 2 or 3 days with some dude who's some kind of CEO or maybe a politician or a dude from fucking Saudi Arabia or something. You know, fucking, what's that other one? Not Qatar, but fucking Dubai. And spend fucking $30,000 on them in 3 days. That's really what they're looking for. Because they got dudes that'll spend that.
Yeah.
I think it's simpy as shit. I never spent $30,000 on some chick fucking like that. 3 days. But the thing is that I'm looking at it through the eyes of a dude that doesn't make all that much money. Those guys are so rich, 30,000 is nothing. That's like me dropping down 30 or 40 bucks.
Yeah.
You know, they'll fly her down there and everything.
And you probably pay for a $30 or $40 hooker, right?
Well, yeah, if you weren't available. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, if I was out of town or something.
Yeah, I had before up in Korea. But it's just a different situation. You know what I mean? Fucking, those dudes are real rich and fucking, he'll fly her down in his fucking jet.
It's not really a big deal for them.
And yeah, and he's like, yeah, she'll be here tomorrow.
Like, it seems like a big deal to us because we don't have any money.
But yeah,
you know?
But to that dude, it's not a big deal. And yeah, she'll be over at the compound. He flies her into a little compound. You know, his wife's at another compound. Or his wife doesn't give a shit what he's doing. You know, she's doing whatever she wants to do too. Probably.
Well, hopefully.
And he's oh yeah.
If he is.
Oh yeah.
Fair's fair.
Usually, like I said before, the only thing those dudes care about is don't get pregnant. You know, that's usually what.
Well, she probably doesn't want to get pregnant either.
Yeah.
They were talking about when you were asking about gay for pay. And you asked Victor about it.
Yeah.
Victor says it's a spectrum. Some straight dudes are down to get blown by a dude every now and then. Some would never do it.
Okay.
That's kind of how I felt about it too.
That's not exactly what this one dude was doing that I was talking about. It was kind of like BDSM and humiliation of twinks. Roughing them up.
Yeah.
But also, like, straight off diving off into the dude and fucking, you know, ATM shit, if you know what I'm talking about, ass to mouth shit, and fucking just roughing them up.
Right.
You know? And he was selling it. You know, OnlyFans type stuff. And here's the weird thing. There was a fucking element of damn financial domination. You know, he's fucking jacked.
That's kind of a big thing.
Yeah, he's jacked. He's fucking good-looking dude, fucking bodybuilder. Those twinks were paying him to be in those movies. He wasn't paying them to be in his movie. They were paying him to be in a movie. Ain't that some shit? And evidently the fucking exchanging of the money, the payment, all right, is in the video. So there's like financial domination.
That's what I mean. That's kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
We have like one person that comes in our room sometimes on Stream8 who's a sub. And if you, like, all you have to do is yell at them to, like, give you a tip, and they will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, like,
well, that other guy, though, was just
awesome.
sitting there. He was all, the other one just tipped you, but we sweet-talked him into fucking tip. And said, you be a good boy, you go ahead and give her a tip.
Yeah.
And then every time he gave a tip, fucking, I said, okay, I'll tell you what, for a reward, I'm going to give you a little fucking sneak peek. And I just fucking tease him with parts of Jenny and shit, different shots and shit. He didn't hardly get anything, though.
Well, no.
It was just because you don't want to give him too much. And
he
then,
seemed happy about
then all of a sudden you look like a cheap slut. It's got to be hard for a simp to get
a cheap
him.
slut. Okay.
So that's the game that those dudes want to play. But anyway, the dude I was talking about, the shit I was doing, shit he was doing. No, I don't think a straight dude could do it.
Well, I guess
he just was.
I guess it depends on the straight.
I think he was just kind of pretending to be straight,
Maybe.
or was mostly straight. He had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
But he was interested in other things too. I think he was bi.
Nothing wrong with that.
I think he was bi on the sly. But he was
Bi
was pretending to be gay.
Sly bi.
He was pretending to be gay for pay, but he was bi on the sly. See, that's a good fucking. I just wrote that shit right now. Although the gays probably beat me to it. They probably have that one.
I kind of imagine that. I mean, it's laying right there. I don't really know.
It's laying
why.
right there.
Right. I wouldn't imagine somebody would have picked that up.
Said he's gay for pay, but he's bi on the sly. Yeah.
DVD Dragon says, Tom, what did you think of the build of the natural fitness celebrity Liver King? Dude got popped for using $12K a month of steroids. Was his 6-pack and implant?
Oh yeah,
you know about that. I've heard of that dude, but I don't remember.
Liver King. I didn't never see any of his videos.
All right, I gotta pee. You talk.
All right. I never saw any of Liver King's videos or anything. I saw other videos of people talking about Liver King. They would just show that dude, and he'd have a raw liver in his hand like he's eating it. I don't really know why they called him Liver King. I guess he ate raw liver. I don't know if he was saying that eating raw liver makes you big. But no, as soon as I see the dude, I said, man, he's fucking jacked to the gills on fucking gear. As old as he is, he was in his, looked like his 40s or 50s. You can't have that fucking build naturally just by working out at that age. You're fucking tripping. Fucking tripping. Best natty I saw, me personally with my own eyes recently, and Jen was with me. We went to PetSmart to go pick up some cat treats or something. This is at the mall out near that Chinese restaurant we go to. And fucking dude, we were waiting in line, and fucking one of the cashiers goes, over here, man, I got you. And I turned and looked, and it was a gym bro, man, fucking at the checkout. And he goes, how you doing, man? I said, dude, you looking fucking jacked. And he's like, oh, you're looking good. And it turned out he was only 18 years old. 18 years old, and he was looking good. And I said, are you on gear? And he goes, no, not that. I says, I can't wait to go on gear. And I says, when are you going to go on? He goes, when I'm 25, I'm going to go on gear. And I says, no, dude, that's a little early. I said, fuck, you need to go on about more like 35. And he goes, nah, I'm going to go on at 25. I was just like, okay. Which, okay, dude can do what he wants. If I see him again, I'm going to fucking amend my advice. You can go on that early if you want to. But you have to understand, as a young guy, if you start fucking around with injecting test at 25, you're going to be on that for life. Yeah, you can come off, but you won't want to. It's kind of addictive, You take it and you go, man, I feel great. And then you start seeing all these results, and you go, yeah, this is the way to go. And then to get around all those fucking side effects of higher doses of test, because you start raising the test up. You say, well, fuck it, I'm going to lower the test down and put it in steroids, anabolic steroids. Because anabolic steroids, it is test. It's just been the carbon molecules on it have been moved around on that molecule. The carbon atoms have been moved around on that molecule to alleviate the side effects of high levels of testosterone. So it's like test that you can take more of, really. It's actually safer than test, as long as you know what you're doing. None of that shit's standalone. It's all going to be done in a stack. So the reason why I told the story is I said, the best natties I've seen were fucking late teens, early 20s. Because a guy at that age, man, if he's got decent genetics, producing a lot of testosterone, especially if you're working out and you're eating right, because your body will make more. Jenny remembers him. You remember the guy I was talking about?
Yeah, no, I don't, because I was just...
We were at PetSmart. We were at PetSmart.
Oh.
Going through the checkout. I said the best natty I've seen recently with my own eyes was about 18.
I was in the bathroom, so I didn't hear the first part of the
Yeah, because he was young.
Yeah.
Whenever you see a dude over the age of 30 who's just fucking shredded, a lot of mass on him, okay, and he's got a very low, body fat percentages. He's like 15% and below, sometimes even 20% and below, but usually around 15, he's on shit. If he's over 35, yeah, unless he's got fantastic genetics, and there's very few people that are like that. And usually, if he's got fantastic genetics to keep weight off in age, he's not massive. He's skinny. They got some people that just have a real thin build. They're like I think they're called ectomorphs, and they just have a thin build, and they can what's his name? Our friend from the club, the old guy. He's skinny as shit.
Hey, Mark.
Mark. I don't think you can put weight on Mark, but Mark's gonna look like a skeleton. If you see a dude that has a bunch of meat on him and there's no fat, that's fucking gear, man. Especially over the age of 35. So, no, fucking Liver King didn't fool me, not one bit.
Camp Guy says, free internet porn is normal today, but would be considered totally debauched in yesterday's society. Yeah. I don't even care who sees my internet history or download backtrail anymore. Yeah. Yesterday's society, my grandmother and grandpappy would think we were totally beyond out there. They would have a coronary. Probably. They were probably doing fucked up shit too, but I guess it wasn't like acceptable to talk about back then.
Wasn't mainstreamed.
Now everybody just talks about whatever, and it's just, I think it's a lot better nowadays.
Yeah.
Like then people just talk about like whatever, and people are just like, yeah, okay.
But back in the early 1900s, fucking you had guys like Albert Fish running around who's doing fucking just bizarre shit to children and people, and what was that, 18 what? Or 19?
I mean, well, yeah, but I mean, you can't really compare that to, well, I guess you kind of can, because it's all on a spectrum.
You had people doing...
Yeah, there were people doing freaky shit. Right. It's just people didn't talk about, like, it wasn't acceptable to talk about, right. Which in a lot of ways I think is probably unhealthy.
Yeah, because you end up with dudes like Albert Fish, I think.
That's kind of, that's kind of where I'm at. Because we've talked about this a lot, too. It's like, how many serial killers would have turned out okay if they had grown up in a time where it wasn't unacceptable to, like, talk about, like, weird sexual fetishes and stuff. Like, nowadays, like, you can talk about, hey, I have a fetish for blah, blah, and everybody's like, hey, me too. And it's just, like, there's a whole fucking Reddit forum to, like, talk about it.
They got dudes fetishizing cannibalism.
That's what I mean. And it's like, if you had that, if they had that, like, maybe they wouldn't have had to act on it in real life.
Yeah. So they kind of blow off steam on the internet, just fantasizing about it. And then they know there's a bunch of them out there, and they never actually have to do it.
Yeah.
If the guy was on
so
his
I think
own,
it's healthier.
If the dude was on his own and didn't know that there's a lot of people that have that, he'd probably think, man, I fucking must be a monster, man. So I'm going to go ahead and eat somebody.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happens.
I think that's what they do.
Because, like, and even people with, like, just normal ass, like, what we would consider, like, normal ass fetishes, you know what I mean? Like, even back in the old days when, like, even something as vanilla as, like, BDSM or something like that was, like, pretty scandalous.
Yeah.
So it's, like, even if you were, like, into that, but you didn't know anybody else that was into that, you probably thought you were, like, the biggest freakazoid ever. And it's, like, that would isolate you even further, which I don't think is, like, super healthy. I think it's, like, much better to think it's like, oh, hey, there's other people that are into that, and as long as everybody's consenting, then it's all good.
And another thing is that you're only seeing things now because of the internet, and you're looking at it in a certain way, and it's become very mainstreamed, but that's happened many times in history. Europe in the fucking 20s and the 30s was fucking wild. There was shit that was happening in Weimar Republic, Germany, that was just unspeakable. You know, fucking child prostitution and everything. And it was pretty mainstream. They knew about it. You could go to a BDSM club in fucking Berlin and watch lesbians spank schoolboys. You know what I mean? Shit like that, and weird shit was happening. You could go to certain streets in Germany and see mother-daughter, underage daughter fucking prostitution couples. In other words, you could have the mom and the daughter. They had whole streets that had what was called crickets or grasshoppers, which were the ugliest women possible. Hunchbacks, deformed, They had dudes that were going down sporting them. They were like, let's go screw the worst women possible. And that was like a challenge, you know. So it was just, and they paid them. And I think didn't cost much. There's all kinds of shit that went on in history. Rome was pretty fucked up, all right? That involved basically snuff porn. Some of that shit that they were doing in the Colosseum, they were killing prisoners and mock battle reenactments and shit.
Okay, let's not do that, but I'm just saying.
That was basically almost like snuff porn.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Let's not do snuff porn. But,
yeah, they were doing shit like that. Evidently, they did have things that were like porn in the Colosseum at certain times where acrobats and then dancers and then sexual performers and some of the shit like included, from what I remember, bestiality, women and bulls, that kind of shit.
Right.
Whether or not they actually copulated or just simulated it, I kind of think they probably simulated it. You can't depend on
I mean, a show is a show.
A show's a show. And
it's like, I'm sure sometimes they were like, oh, okay, we can do this. And sometimes they're like, well, okay, we can't do this, so let's just fake it.
The safest thing to do to get that show, something like that done, thinking about it today, that bull probably had a strap on.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and they probably had a harness
Weirdly enough.
Probably had a harness on the bull to kind of hide the fact that it had a strap on. Because how can you depend on that bull to fucking perform? It's probably just a strap on and a fake dick. Fucking, and they were just pretending.
Yeah.
Probably
like I said, that would be.
But you know,
because it's just a show.
They did creepy shit, or not creepy shit. That's just kinky shit. They did kinky shit. Going way back, the Aztecs did creepy shit, but and freaky shit. Necrophilia was one of the things, and that's still going on still going on in Mexico with the drug cartels. There was a gang of satanic witch females in it. Had a drug cartel. They were assassins, and to join their little witches coven, they worked for other cartels. They're fucking seducing dudes and killing them for hire. To join the club, they had to have sex with like one of the dead victims and shit. And it was in a bathtub, like Countess Bathory shit. Evidently, they were hot.
What, hot dead people?
No, they were hot fucking chicks.
Oh.
They were assassins.
Oh, okay.
And their whole thing was to pick dudes up in bars and take them to a location and assassinate them. It was like for hire, you know. They were being targeted by clients. But to join them, you had to have sex with one of the fucking victims. Dead body and shit.
Here's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like, because Mr. AD's talking about, like, some things being a step too far. And obviously, like, yeah, snuff porn, yeah, no, let's not do that. Yeah. I'm not really... And I know that it's legal in some countries. I'm not a huge fan of, like, the bestiality thing. Just because, well, I don't know. That's kind of a gray area because a lot of times, well, the animals can't consent. But, like, in some videos, it looks like the animal is into it and they weren't forced into it. Yeah. So it's just kind of like...
Dog jumping on a girl and she's...
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's all right. Yeah. But, and then the weird thing about necrophilia is that, well... There's not really consent involved because the person's dead, right? Yeah. But it's still kind of gross.
It's desecration of a dead body.
Yeah, I mean, it's still pretty gross.
Really, yeah, that's terrible.
I mean, it's still pretty gross.
Fucking, you know, and
even though I'm not religious, so I don't have a religious objection to it, I'm just saying, I just think it's kind of gross.
The rumors of that kind of shit, at least in when you talk about morgues, and the rumors are always centered around children, the bodies of children.
Right.
Or very beautiful young women, you know, being abused. That's the body of somebody's dead loved one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like that kind of bothers me more than like I said, it's not a religious thing. It's just kind of like, hey, that's somebody's relative. Yeah. Let's not.
Yeah.
I mean,
the funeral hasn't even happened yet.
That's kind of disrespectful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's terrible.
And like I said, if that person was alive, they probably would not be down with it.
Now, in old time Mexico during the Aztec era, you know, the Mayans did shit like they had mummified kings, right? And they'd fucking have them in certain corners and certain places in the temple, and they're bringing that king food and fucking weapons and shit and sending women to him to like have sex with him. Now, I don't know.
Like, God damn it.
I don't know how they did that. It must have been.
Am I on the necrophilia detail today?
Yeah.
Great.
It must have been like a strap on the mummy. It's a mummy.
Yeah.
You know.
Gotta go fuck the mummy. I'll be right back.
So, but you know.
Oh man, maybe we should get a mummy sex doll.
Yeah,
That would be like ritual.
Not a real one, obviously.
That would be like ritual religious.
Right. But it's still, that's still weird. That's
Yeah.
still necrophilia.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're
Still
making sure
weird.
the king is happy. Yeah.
I don't care what justification you come up with for it. It's still fucking gross.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like fucking.
It was probably
Gotta go fuck the mummy.
probably knowing the old Mexican system, it was probably like a priestess that had to do it, something like that.
Oh, I imagine.
It was probably something religious. Yeah. They had to ration out for it though, you know, it's just like helping the king out in the afterworld, that type of shit.
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
can come up with any kind of weird, convoluted justification for it you want. It's still fucking gross.
Well, I don't think it was
Sorry.
deception. I think they believed it.
I'm sure they did.
Believed it. They believed that there was in the.
But it's still,
in the
that shit's
afterlife.
not real, so it's just
Nah.
like, that's not a
They
justification.
believed the king had to
Sorry.
be kept satisfied in the afterlife.
Sorry, the dude's dead.
Yeah.
Like, let's not.
Yeah, it's a sacrifice.
Victor says you can whip out the Ouija board and get consent.
Yeah. It said yes. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would
That's
you like
real.
to get fucked right now?
Yes.
Yes. Danny Rowling said it was actually, you guys maybe don't know this, but my mouse pad is a Ouija board. And I've been using it like this whole entire time. Danny Rowling said there was a female morgue worker, I remember hearing about this, that would bang the dead males and even kidnapped a corpse during their funeral just to bang it. And the family was wondering where she went with their family members. Yeah, I kind of remember hearing about that game. Maybe we should do a show about that.
How did he get erect? She put a fucking step
Did she
on
inject something in there, or
There's
like
no way.
put a?
No, there'd be no response.
Or no, like maybe I don't know.
Inflated it somehow.
Well, yeah, like I've never worked in a morgue, but maybe do they have like some kind of little things they can like stick in your body to like keep it from collapsing at certain
I don't know.
points?
I don't know.
Bryce says animals and dead bodies like kids and family are off limits to me. That shit is
Yeah.
gross. I mean, yeah, it is kind of gross. It is kind of gross. Yeah, Tammy said, wouldn't you want Grandpa to get a little before they put him in the ground? LOL.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know how long it's been since. Then Maggie Mac says, # do not fuck mummy.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, maybe we should get a sex doll that looks like a
People
mummy.
are
That would
weird,
be-
man.
They are weird, and it's just kind of like, and people think we're weird. We're not
Yeah.
that weird.
But the sex doll thing. The sex dolls aren't weird, really.
No, I don't think sex dolls are weird.
It's an inanimate
It's
object.
an inanimate object.
It's
It
just-
looks like a person,
it's just
kind
a
of,
sex
but
toy.
it's just like I said, it's like a dildo, except it's
Yeah.
like built out,
Right.
kind of.
If you get one, if we get one, we're gonna get a good one, one that looks good on camera, and it's gonna be fantasy based. So it's not so. Man, I just don't like the ones that are too realistic. They just look too much like corpse.
I don't
They
either.
look too much like a corpse to me.
Yeah, it's like having a dead body in your
Yeah.
house.
It's
And you have to like
creepy
stuff her in the closet
Yeah.
or something like that.
I want something that look like a damn something out of World of Warcraft.
And like I said, I'm even more weirded out by just like the male torsos with the dick
Yeah.
on them. I'm just like, okay. And I know I've watched like some videos with like girls with those, but it's just like, I don't know. They're weird to me.
We'll see if we can get one that can be converted into like a fuda and shit like that, and you can fuck around with that.
I want one that's like modular.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they have and how much it costs. Yeah.
I mean, I just thought that would be a
And
good.
it has to look like an anime character.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, this might be something like down the line that we
Yeah.
might want to like look at investing in just for more options.
Once the money situation gets better, and pay off a little bit of debt, fucking. I know. Amazon will give me the credit for it. They basically told me that you can get it.
Yeah.
When I was looking at them, I saw how much it was a month,
Right.
and it was kind of it implied I was pre-approved for it because it knows my credit score. I got a good credit score.
What are you doing, Pokey? She's going to town on the books over there.
Don't tear the books up.
She's like, oh, I'm gonna do it.
Look, she's got you're talking. You know what it is? We've been on the show too long.
She's pulling all the books.
Yeah.
Out of the
What are you doing?
She's pulling all the books out of the.
Look, she ran away screaming. She
I'm in trouble.
Yeah, come here.
She's like,
I was like, no, come here.
she's pulling all the books out of the fucking
She knows when she's in trouble.
out of the bookshelf.
She's like, no, Daddy, no.
She pulled out Rose Red and like Faust and like a couple of other books that were down there. She's pulling them all out. She's
Jan,
okay.
it's 11.
Okay.
And I got that lasagna sitting down there in the oven.
Oh shit, I
Done.
forgot. Yeah, you were cooking some food down
Yeah, I
there.
had it on a timer. It's just sitting there. It's good to go.
All right, maybe we should. It's Friday night. I guess we
Yeah.
should.
Eggplant
you
lasagna.
stop?
Eggplant lasagna.
Oh, and then she pulled out Whatever, the Martian Chronicles.
Yeah.
She's pulling out all the books down there. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. We're going to go eat some lasagna, maybe watch some videos, then go to sleep because it's Friday night and we're not going anyplace. So, Danny says, where's that raccoon? Let's see.
We'll do it.
Okay, hold on. I got to find it. Where is it?
It's still got to be there.
It's got to be there somewhere. Where's that raccoon? I thought I put it at the bottom. It's got to still be here. I did not take it out. Oh, maybe I did. Oh, there it is.
Where is that raccoon?
There it is. I knew it was that. I was like, I know I didn't remove it. It's still in here somewhere. But yeah, Mr. 88 said, love y'all. Oh, that's nice. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. Have a good weekend, you guys. We'll be back again on Monday night doing a movie review. I don't know what movie it's going to be because we haven't watched one yet, so we'll find out when you will. So that should be fun. But yeah, thanks for dropping by. Thanks for super chats. Thanks for this very scintillating conversation about all kinds of stuff, sex dolls and whatnot. And we'll see you guys again on Monday. Good